We're now 3 years into the Delaware Dynasty rebuild on College Football 27, and we've definitely brought the team in a good direction, winning 9, 9, and 11 games so far respectively. But losing twice to New Mexico State last year, including the conference championship game, certainly halted what felt like very strong momentum for the program. Delaware, though, has certainly lapped the competition in Conference USA and appears to be knocking on the door of a conference switch. Is it time? We are now on to year number 4 of the Delaware Blue Hens dynasty here on College Football 27. Our program is in a really good spot, even though we feel a little bit deflated after losing to New Mexico State twice last year. We're in a really good spot. We're now at 2-star prestige. We're an 82 overall, and we played really well this past season, despite the double overtime loss to the Aggies in our regular season game, and then only scoring 7 in the conference title. We did win the Cure Bowl again for a second time in the last 3 years, defeating Ball State, and it brings us into yet another offseason where, like always, we have a lot of questions to ask because our roster has developed extremely well over the last couple of years, but with how highly rated these guys are, it's going to be hard to keep everyone. Steele Pizzella is coming off certainly an up-and-down season, but our passing offense was one of the most efficient in terms of yards per play in the entire country. Our run game was really strong, and of course we had a three-headed monster at receiver with Matthew McKinley Daniels, R.J. Mosley, and Tyron Parker, all of whom played extremely well. The defense over the second half of the year was also extremely good. Other than the New Mexico State game, the first one that is, they played really, really well, forced a good number of turnovers, fair share of pressure. And what's most exciting about this team, along with our star prestige going up and our total dynasty points budget doubling pretty much since the first season, is that we can really run it back with a large chunk of this group. We only have 3 players graduated on the entire roster, only 1 starter on defense, if you even count Kenny Wosley as a starter, and then our starting center. That's it. But we also recognize we can't just bring everyone back because a lot of these guys want raises. Steele Pizzella wants $450, Matthew McKinley Daniels wants $300. That's a lot to put into 2 players, nearly half of our dynasty budget. And what's worked for us, particularly last year, is we put a lot of money into our quarterback, but the other positions we were a lot more cautious about. We're also going to have to build our facilities at some point. Right now we're an F. We've got to keep that in the back of our mind as well, but I don't think this will be the year, maybe next season. This is what I'm thinking with our dynasty points. We develop receivers extremely well. I don't think it makes sense to give Matthew McKinley Daniels 300 when we can give all of these guys a similar number. Especially when the likely alternative for McKinley Daniels is not the transfer portal, but instead the NFL. And we're showing kids that this is 2 years in a row that we've developed an NFL receiver. I think it makes more sense to put these points into Tyron Parker and R.J. Mosley. They were both fantastic for us last year, and the 2 of them combined cost less than Matthew McKinley Daniels does individually. Luckily, a lot of our defensive players want to come back. It doesn't seem like these guys are going to cost a whole lot. So it really wasn't hard figuring out how we were going to use our points on the defensive side of the ball. I think we got really lucky here. Well, offensively, it's certainly a lot trickier. We'll start with the other receivers. I wanted to retain 3 or 4 of these guys, but Demetrius McCray is asking for 220. He was our wide receiver 4 last year. I don't think that one really makes a whole lot of sense. It's a much tougher choice for me, though, with Justice Hammer, who I really want to keep. He was our top recruit in year 1, but unfortunately his rating has gone up too quickly. I was expecting he was going to play a big role for us this year, but instead I think we kind of have to prioritize guys like Thompson and Salazar, look to keep them. At running back, Oliver Lundberg Coleman doesn't really want much, which is great. He could have asked for 130, and I probably would say yes. So I'm happy to keep him at that number, and I'm okay with letting a guy like Jalen Bonds go into the portal because we're going to bring back the rest of the running back room. And then, of course, the biggest decision of all is at quarterback. We only have 20 dynasty points left to spend, which obviously is not a lot. So my thought process with Pizzella is that I would certainly like to keep him. It's not like we have a bunch of roster spots to fill because we're only really losing 2 key players. And we already have replacements lined up for both of them. So it's not like we really need to be that active in the transfer portal. However, we need to retain the rest of this roster, and so I don't think giving him the 450 is reasonable. So I will offer him 330 dynasty points. If he wants to come back, great. We'll welcome him back. But if not, we're going to have those dynasty points open. We'll be able to get a new quarterback in the portal, presumably, and we will have other points left over for other positions. So I think that is ultimately how we're going to operate things. We're in a lucky spot, given that, again, we're having 2 starters graduate. Now, granted, we're going to lose some starters to the portal, but our team is really deep. I think we're in a good spot in that regard. I'm going to keep the transfer portal settings the same. I know in my settings and sliders video the other day, I recommend you push the max transfers per team down, but we're not at the point of the series yet where I really care that much about the other players across the country, so we're going to keep it at 20. Here you go. Matthew McKinley-Daniels is going to the league. Steele Pizzella looks to be going into the transfer portal. We will try to convince him back with one of our 5 persuasion chances. We're losing a lot more than I expected, along with, of course, the 3 seniors. There are some key players in here who I thought would stick around, so I'm a little bit disappointed, and I don't really know how I want to use these points. I think we will start towards the top. Torian Chester has a high chance of coming back. He's sticking around. He's going to start for his guard. We've got a few mediums here. Evan Wilkins is a true sophomore. Had a good season at tackle. He has not been persuaded. We're going to lose him. I had a hard time figuring out what I wanted to do with these other medium players, but I think I'm going to try Kane White-Tinsley. I think he's really talented. 2 years left of eligibility. He says no. Great. I feel bad about letting those other medium players go, especially Larry Thacker. We recruited him and he looks good, but I feel like we've got to try these guys down here, even if there's a very low chance of them coming back. As Hammer says no. Ouch. I was excited for him to be a starter this year. Pizzella has not been persuaded. He's going into the portal, which means we're going to have a new starting quarterback this year. Steele Pizzella is not coming back. We're going to lose a whole lot more than I expected. However, with Pizzella not coming back, we get those 330 dynasty points back to spend. So we'll be able to use that on the transfer portal and fill out our roster needs. We have 655. Wow, that is a lot. And there are a lot of quarterbacks. Vi Zambrano started at Kennesaw State last year. We played against them. There are some good players here in terms of the 5-star list. I don't think we're in position to get any of these guys. The top 4-star is Steele Pizzella with Alabama, LSU, and Notre Dame at the top of this list. I still don't think we're really in a position to go for these 4 stars, though. I want to go for the highly ranked 3 stars. That's been our strategy, and it's worked. At quarterback, there's a couple guys who really catch my eye, who I would be very interested in. So we'll start with the guy who pokes out like a sore thumb. Carson Boyd's New Mexico State team beat us twice last year, and he defeated us as a starter his sophomore season at Illinois. We're 0-3 against him. If you can't beat him, steal him. And then I want to look at Hoss Haney as well. He's a guy whose game I've always been a fan of, dating back to College Football 25 in the Kansas Dynasty with TCU. He was our top rival in that series. Running back Anthony Rogers had a huge year at Ohio State, so I'm certainly interested in him. I really want to prioritize the line. It looks like Evan Wilkins is interested in coming back. That's good, because he's a guy who I would really like to keep. We're also going to prioritize the defensive line, and luckily some of these guys are interested. Dalen Johnstone and London Merritt appear to want to join our program, and then a lot of defensive tackles are interested as well, a position group that I would certainly like to add some depth at. We're also going to add plenty of linebackers as well. To me, I think trench play and linebackers is probably the biggest thing I'm looking for. I think we're good on the outside, maybe another skill position guy on offense, maybe a couple of safeties on defense, but for the most part, I'm focused on getting stronger, getting a little bit beefier while making marginal additions on the outside. So we added roughly 25 players in the portal. I'm not expecting to get all 25, but remember last year, we got most of the guys who we put on. We'll start with the quarterbacks. I'm going to put 25 into these guys, and I'm going to get them their scholarships. Luckily, I'm able to give pretty much everybody their scholarships. The bonus of having all of this NIL. So my strategy was to go all in for the quarterbacks and give everybody else 5 points and a scholarship, except for Cameron Hamill, the safety, because I cannot afford a scholarship right now, but I'll be able to once we take one of the quarterbacks off the board. In terms of the high school freshmen, I'm still going after these guys really hard, especially edge rusher Emeka Nwangu. He is certainly someone who I would like to be able to land. It's really close with us in Bowling Green. So we'll simulate the week, and he is verbally committed to Bowling Green. However, I have a plan in place that will allow him to hopefully flip to our program. A lot of these guys have narrowed their lists down. I really wanted the running back Anthony Rogers. He had like 1,300 yards last year at Ohio State. But it looks like he's going to Memphis, and we'll have to settle for our backfield that we had last year, minus Jalen Bonds, which is fine. Part of the challenge of recruiting is knowing when to fold. Duke has the lead on quarterback Ciance Fanini. They have him visiting this week. I'm going to take my points off. But for a lot of these other guys, including Nwangu, I think we can get them. I'm going to take these other guys who have locked us out off of our list. There's a decent number of them, but a lot of the guys here, I do still think we have a good chance to get. Neither of the quarterbacks have interest from any other school, which leads me to believe that we can pick either one. I really like Haas Haney, but for the storyline, I feel like we've got to rock with Carson Boyd. He's ranked a little bit higher. We've played against him before. We know his style of play. I think he's a great fit in our offense. With these freshmen, these are some really competitive battles, but I still think we can get a lot of them. I'm going to give Nwangu the scholarship, and then we're going to give him an A-plus pitch for his visit. I think that will be enough to surpass Bowling Green. I can give Hamill, the safety, a scholarship now as well, and I've got 8 open spots left on the portal that I can use on other potentially 3-stars, or we could go big for a 4-star. I'm going to take those 2 freshmen off because I know we're not going to get them, but I still think we can get Dominic Cherry, even though he has 2 visits upcoming with Michigan State and Central Florida. If we offer him a scholarship and have him come week 4, I think we could actually make it work. I took Boyd's points down from 25 to 15, and then for the guys who are in competitive races, I'm giving them a lot of points. For the guys who it seems like we're the only school in the mix, I'm not going to give them a lot of points. In terms of these freshmen, I think we're only going to be able to land a couple. Maybe Cherry the tackle, maybe the running back Frisch, and then certainly Nwangu. The good news about giving him all these points is I would imagine he will choose either Bowling Green or us after this week, so we won't have to keep investing points into him. He did not commit to either us or Bowling Green after the visit. That's not really a great sign. Ciance Fanini is going to Duke. We kind of knew that. London Merritt's down to 3. I don't love our chances there, but a lot of these other guys I still think we have a good shot for being in the top 2. We only have 5 freshman players on the board. Nwangu's visit, I suppose, went well, but we're still in second, which is kind of disappointing. I'm going to have Dom Cherry come week 4. I still think we can hold on to win that battle, even with Central Florida and Michigan State right there in the mix. Nobody's going after Boyd. I can take his points off and really focus on the players who are in these close races. I'm going to take London Merritt off. He's visiting Akron this week, and they have the lead. But I'm going to focus on these other defensive linemen for the most part because I think we actually have a chance at them. It's really about knowing when to take guys off and when to stay competitive. We're going to really start to focus on this running back, J.D. Frisch, and I'm going to add a bunch more players to the board, including more running backs, because I don't know if we're going to get Frisch, so I want to have some backup plans in place. We have a lot of guys interested in visits, so I'm going to offer the safety Owens, Tyler Sapp at right guard. I think I'm going to have Kane White Tinsley come this week. He was on our team last year and said, no, I want to bring him back. And then Dalen Johnstone at edge. I think we can get him pretty much locked in with a good visit. So that's how I'm going to use our points in week 3. We only have 22 total prospects on the board. We had pretty much a full class over the last couple of years, but given how many players are coming back for us, we don't need a full class. So it looks like Nwangu has hard committed to Bowling Green. Wow. We went after him for 3 weeks just for him to say no. We do have the lead, though, for Dom Cherry, and he is visiting us this week. That's really exciting. We were able to overpower Michigan State and Central Florida to likely land him. We now only have 1 week left. Tyler Sapp's visit did not go great. I'm going to take him off the list. Evanson, we're down by a lot. I'm going to keep him on and have him come in for a visit this week. White Tinsley, Navy still has the lead, and Owens, Illinois still has the lead, but we've caught up a little bit with our visits. I'm going to fill out the rest of the board. I'm going to add Vi Zambrano, the quarterback out of Kennesaw State, and then a few other depth pieces scattered around as well. There's a lot of quarterbacks here. We don't need more than really 1 quarterback, but we're going to try to get 2. And then just a bunch of other filler players for the most part. Philip Fulmar at wide receiver gets us more depth at that position. Polo Anderson at safety looks pretty good. A lot of these guys are pretty highly ranked and have interest in our program, but we didn't go after them until, I guess, right now. So this is what I'm going to do with points. I really want to go after Jamar Owens. I like his game, but he visits Illinois this week. So I think I'm just going to take him off. We've got McDonald. We've got Schott at safety. Those guys are ranked pretty evenly. And I'm going to have them both visit this week. I think we can pass the teams who were ahead. Nick Evanson, we're down by a lot, but we have an A-plus pitch. I'm going to give it a shot. And then with our last visit, I wasn't really sure where I wanted to go. I think we're just going to use those points not on visits, but instead on scholarships for these guys who we've just added to the board. and then divvying up points elsewhere. So we're only going to have 3 visits. Now, unfortunately, we only have so much NIL for the running back Frisch and the quarterback Zambrano, so I'm going to offer them no NIL. Zambrano I wasn't going to put on the board anyway, so if we don't get him, I don't really care. And then with Frisch, we're going after other running backs, so I'm okay if we don't end up landing him. I thought about adding a couple more players on the board with the 15 NIL, but I don't know if we really need to. So I think this is just how we're going to use all of our points. We've got some very close races here to keep an eye on going into National Signing Day. We're trailing quite a bit on guard Clint Herkovich, but we're putting more points into him than we did previously, so I think we have a real shot with him. Dalen Johnstone had a great visit. I think his battle is over. Walter Newberry, we have the lead. I'm putting 25 into him to be safe. Nick Evanson, I'm giving it a shot. We're down by a lot, but I think it's worth a try. Casey Cisco, I'm putting more points into him than I did previously. Leon Irvin, I'm not going to put anything into. I think we have a safe enough lead to land him. Kane White-Tinsley, we're still going for, even though Navy's currently ahead of us. I think we can pass them. Zayden McDonald and Derek Schott are both visiting this week, so hopefully that's enough to get both of them to commit. And then a lot of the new guys, we're going to put a lot of points into them. That way, maybe they commit to us. So, in terms of the close battles, I'd say the 3 safeties, Evanson, Herkovich, and maybe 1 or 2 of the other guys. Right before I simulated, though, I got cold feet on one player. I really want Leon Irvin. I think it might be a little reckless to not give him anything. Even though second place Appalachian State is apparently out of the race, what about third place Louisiana Tech? So I think I can take a few points off of these two. Because even though we're trailing, we have them coming in for visits, and I'd like to think that'll be enough for us to move into first place. That way we can give Leon Irvin 20 points in a soft sell. We have a really, really good pitch for him. So I think we can make it work. And hopefully get all of those players to join the secondary. All right, with that, it's time for the moment of truth. We only have 2 players committed to our recruiting class so far, but I am ready to change that right here. Let's see who's signing with us going into year number 4. We'll start with the freshman offensive tackle, Dominic Cherry. I'm proud about winning that battle. Michigan State and UCF could have easily beat us, but we held our ground and were able to get the job done. Clint Herkovich. I honestly didn't think we were going to get him over Arizona. Walter Newberry, the defensive tackle, we land. Derek Schott, one of the 2 safeties who visited this week. Philip Fulmar, we just added him to the board, a wide receiver from Buffalo. Polo Anderson at safety, we just added him as well, coming from Clemson. Running back, Julian Phillip. Quarterback, Carson Boyd. He's going to be our starter this year. If you can't beat him, steal him. Edge rusher, Dalen Johnstone. Linebacker, Elijah Groves, we added him late. Wide receiver, Corbin Glasgow. He might be our wide receiver 3. Safety, Zayden McDonald. Linebacker, Casey Cisco. Safety, Cameron Hamill. This secondary is going to be really good. Safety, Josh Trupika. Cornerback, Leon Irvin. Linebacker, Sean Abreu. We don't land everyone, but I think we fared quite well. We're not going to bring back Kane White-Tinsley. Unfortunately, Navy put a few too many points into him. He is going there. We do lose out on Evanson despite our best efforts, and then J.D. Frisch and Vi Zambrano did not like our 0 NIL offers. They're going elsewhere too. So in terms of class quantity, wow, we didn't get Kane Pollard either. I thought we were. In terms of class quantity, it's not a super big group, 19 players compared to the 30 that we usually end up with, but I like the talent we're getting, and it's not like we needed a large group. Herkovich has star development at guard, and I think he has 3 years of eligibility. Derek Schott's going to have 3 years of eligibility. He has star. Groves has star. Josh Trupika has star. All in all, we have the 56th ranked class in the country. We are second to last in terms of recruiting because we only ended up with 3 players. Only SMU was lower. They only ended up with 2. They had a pretty big transfer class, but not as big as ours. Our transfer class overall was very good, though. Number 3. Last year it was number 1. But this time around, Arkansas and LSU get the better of us. Where's Steele Pizzella going? That's my next question. He will be the starting quarterback at Notre Dame. Wow, that's a big one. Notre Dame went 3-9 last year. They're looking for him to save the program with Dabo Swinney as the head coach. Marcus Freeman, after the first year, left for the NFL. Our new quarterback, meanwhile, went 3-0. Against Steele Pizzella over the last 2 seasons in Carson Boyd. He's a senior. We're only going to have him for 1 year, but I think he's really good. Where are some of our other friends going? Justice Hammer. Wow, McCray didn't go anywhere. Justice Hammer's going to LSU. Fairs. He developed way too quickly. I really like where our roster's at, though. Yeah, we lost arguably a top 10 quarterback in Steele Pizzella, but Carson Boyd's a good player, and the rest of this group is pretty talented. It's an older team, given that much of our roster from last year is coming back, and everybody's up a year. But I think we're in a good spot. Prior to player progression, Terrell Cheeseman is 69 overall. Fulmar's an 81, and Glasgow's an 80. So this receiving core, even without McKinley Daniels, looks pretty good. I'm going to move around some of our players to balance out our positions. We have 20,000 safeties. We don't need all these guys to play safety. So I think I'm going to have some of them move over to corner. Derek Schott's a true sophomore. I like his skill set at corner. I think if he redshirts this year, he could be a good player for us at that spot. Cameron Hamill goes up a few ratings to strong safety. Polo Anderson, meanwhile, I thought about putting at corner, but I want to keep him at free safety. We're going to move Tripucka over to corner. Anderson would be an 84, 6'2", with good speed and man coverage, but I'm going to hold on to him for now at safety because I think our corner room in terms of the starters are good for right now, but maybe that's a move we make next year. Dom Cherry is an athlete. I'm curious about his defensive line ratings. We don't get to see him here, so I guess I'm going to have him play offensive line. We're going to have him over at left tackle. All right, now it's time for the fun part, player progression. Our roster's already in a really good spot, but why not make it a little bit better? Last year, remember, we went all the way up to a 79. So we'll see if we get lucky this year as Tyron Parker's development trait goes up. Carson Boyd's development trait goes up. We also have Corbin Glasgow going up along with Cameron Hamill. That's a lot of players with increased development traits. On to training results. There were certainly some interesting ones. Cameron Hamill is our first 90 overall player. That's pretty exciting. Philip Fulmar, who we added to the board right at the end of the transfer portal, is an 88. I added him right at the end thinking, oh, he might be our wide receiver 5. He's an 88. Mosley's an 85. Parker's an 84. Glasgow's an 83. The guy throwing in the ball, Carson Boyd, is an 85. EJ Archfield is in the 80s as our backup, and Eric Dickens, the redshirt freshman, got a lot better. I'm really excited about Dickens. This is a big offseason for him. I was definitely curious about Pizzella to see if he got better. He's not on the list here. I don't know why. But on Notre Dame's roster, he is a 90 overall, making him one of the highest-rated quarterbacks in the entire game. So time will tell if we ultimately made the right call. But the quarterback we have, we're giving a third of the price to. Coleman didn't get better at all. Jaden Wright is actually our highest-rated running back. Doesn't mean he'll be the starter, but we'll see what happens there. At tight end, Bowman is an 80. The offensive line looks pretty solid across the board. I was hoping Brady at left tackle and Herkovich at left guard would move up a little quicker, though, given that they have star development on the defensive line. The D-tackle room looks really good. Newberry, the new guy, is an 85. AJ Tuitele is an 85 at linebacker. At corner, Leon Irvin goes up quite a bit. He's an 83. This secondary is incredibly deep. Anderson's an 83. I was hoping for more out of him. But then Cameron Hamill as a 90 overall. That's a big one. This roster looks really, really strong. I think it's pretty obvious we have outgrown Conference USA. Even though we have not won a conference title since year one, look at the overall ratings of these teams. We're an 82. We don't belong here. I think it's time we move on. I think the eventual goal is the Big Ten or the ACC, but I think we've got to be kind of reasonable. I think we have to stay in the group of 5, compete with the likes of Boise State. We're going to play in the American, which I think is the best of the group of 5 conferences. There are some good teams in this league. It'll be a real challenge for us. We have 84 players on the roster, so we don't have to cut anyone. Apparently, though, J.D. Frisch is here after all. And so is Vi Zambrano, who's an 82 as a sophomore quarterback. I thought he was going to UConn or something. We might have just accidentally landed our next starting quarterback after Carson Boyd. He has a cannon of an arm, he's really fast, and he has starting experience. As we simulate forward now, our rating is an 89, and we're ranked. Whoa. Okay, wow. That surprises me. We are, ratings-wise, on a similar level as the 5-star programs. We're the same as Notre Dame with Steele Pizzella. Now, I will say, I think the overall team ratings in this game is kind of bugged. But I compared our roster to another 89 in Oregon, and yeah, I mean, these rosters are pretty comparable on paper. What also really surprised me was the amount of dynasty points that we could use on recruiting. Nearly 1,500. How did that happen? Well, because we moved over to the American, which has a higher conference prestige, We now have an extra 500 or so dynasty points to spend, and since our team is kind of old, we're going to lose a lot of the guys who we're giving big NIL to anyway. We have a whole lot more seniors, almost half of the roster, compared to last year where we had 3. So that means the expectation for our team is really high. We're the only group of 5, group of 6 team in here. So the expectation nationally is that we make the playoffs, even with losing Steele Pizzella, who's on the Heisman shortlist. I mean, going into the season last year, I had really high hopes for our team personally, but now this year it seems like the national media has caught on a little bit. We have Sam Houston on the schedule. I'm going to take them off because there's one team in particular I really want to see. We've got to play Notre Dame. We've got to play Steele Pizzella. We're going to start the year, though, with Pitt. That game's going to be at home because I want to play Notre Dame on the road. Then we've got Coastal Carolina in week 2, Buffalo in week 3, and then our in-conference slate. We've got some good teams in conference. Memphis is a strong program, South Florida, Tulane, and then a big test towards the end of the year with Notre Dame, who's only won 8 games over the last 2 years, but I'm not buying that. It's Notre Dame, and they've got a heck of a quarterback. So now that we're a 2-star and we have all these NIL points to spend, my entire recruiting strategy is going to change. There's a lot of 3-stars who are interested in us, and their NIL asking prices are way lower than they've been over the last 3 years. This feels overwhelming. The amount of talented players who we can get. We can even try for some of these 4-stars. I mean, I felt like a kid on Christmas Day picking out the 35 players I wanted on the board because over the first 3 years, none of these 3-stars were interested, and all of their NIL prices were outrageous. Like this quarterback, Emilio Camella, looks really good. We have more than enough to give him the 245-point scholarship. Last year, we only had 70 points. Cordell Sparks is a 4-star running back. He looks like a monster. I think he could be our starter at that position next year. Clyde Jordan at tight end is a gem, 6'6" with 85 speed. Joey Abiamiri at offensive tackle's a gem. Jake Simonson, linebacker, 91 speed. He's a gem. This is so foreign to what we had over the first 3 years, but it means our entire recruiting strategy is going to change. I think this offseason for sure, we've got to upgrade the facilities by at least 1 letter grade, maybe 2, because we can now recruit with really good programs. We cannot let our facilities hold us back, and we have enough NIL to do it. Let's look at our expectations. Win a bowl game in the next 5 years. Wow, the AD is really setting the bar high. Our team is ranked and has playoff aspirations, but we've just got to win a bowl game in 5 years. I'm a little worried about that one. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull it off. Win 75% of our conference games and beat Tulane by at least 7. Those are a little bit more challenging. But in terms of our points, we have a lot of guys who are very high on the list already, which is great. We don't need to put points into them yet. But I do want to go after those 2 4-stars. And then the other guys who are not very high on our list, we're going to give 25 to. With that, let's simulate the week and let's see what recruiting looks like going into our first matchup of the year. So the tight end, Clyde Jordan, the gem, who's 6'6" with a lot of speed, he locked us out, which sucks because I actually really wanted him. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen. We've got a couple other guys, though, already down to 5, so we're going to be able to give them visits right away. Before we play our first game of the year against Pitt, we've got to meet the roster, a team that obviously has high expectations. We're ranked, the only group of 6 team with a top 25 ranking. So the national media is expecting us to make the playoff. And if we don't, then this season was a massive failure. Last season, I really believed in our team, and we fell short in the conference title. But this year, everybody believes in us. There's a microscope on this team. It starts at the quarterback position with Carson Boyd, who we landed in the transfer portal from New Mexico State. His teams have beaten us 3 times over the last 2 years. So I figured, let's get him on our side. He can't beat us anymore if he's on our team. Boyd is a redshirt senior, 6 foot, less than 200 pounds. He's not the biggest. The question with him is his ability to throw under pressure, which surprised me because I thought he did a good job of that when we played against him. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but he's pretty accurate, and he's a very good runner. I think his style of play, in a lot of ways, has some similarities to Steele Pizzella, so I think the offense itself will be reasonably similar. His numbers at Illinois were pretty bad, even though individually he had a good game against us. And then, of course, at New Mexico State last year, he was really solid, leading the Aggies to their 2nd straight conference title. There's also Vi Zambrano to keep an eye on. He started at Kennesaw State last year. I felt like he was one of the better quarterbacks in our conference, and I could easily see him being the starter next year. At running back, Jaden Wright, Jared Porter, and Oliver Lombard Coleman all return. Last year, it was Coleman and Jalen Bonds who got a bulk of the work. This year, I think it'll largely depend on who plays well early in the year. I don't think we really have a set starter yet. At wide receiver, Philip Fulmar being an 88 overall completely caught me off guard. We added him during the final week of the transfer portal as a throw-in, as a depth player. I thought he would be in the mid-70s. I didn't think he'd be an 88 overall. I think he's probably going to play in the slot for us, though. I think his skill set has some similarities to that of Matthew McKinley-Daniels. He's not the biggest guy, but that's okay, because R.J. Mosley and Tyron Parker have plenty of size on the outside, both being above 6'3". Both of these guys played really well last year. Mosley, I thought, was our best receiver in the second half of the year, and Tyron Parker really came along as an exciting playmaker, had the punt return touchdown. And then behind them, Corbin Glasgow and Ty Salazar are good depth pieces, and Terrell Cheeseman will be developing in the wings. At tight end, it'll be Jackson Bowman once again. The offensive line looks a little different, with Telfair and Chester sliding over to the left side, and 3 new starters at center, right guard, and right tackle. Defensively, meanwhile, it's a very similar group to what we had last year, with a lot of returning starters on all 3 levels. The strength of the defense, though, for me is going to be the secondary. Cameron Hamill is a 90 overall. We're only going to have him for 1 year, but a really, really good cover player at safety. He can roam a ton of space in the back end. He can be your cover 1 free safety. You can put him in man coverage. You can put him closer to the box. An SEC pedigree, started his career at Texas A&M, but now he is here with the Hens. We've got a few new transfers. We've got some good veterans. Noah Jefferson's still here. Polo Anderson from Clemson is going to be the starter at free safety, and then at corner. DJ Kelly's back on the outside for a 3rd straight year. Jamarion Calec-Bodie is back for a 4th straight year. And credit to Calec-Bodie, he could have entered the transfer portal at just about any point and gone to a power conference school, but he's decided to stick it out with the Blue Hens. We've got a new nickel. It'll probably be Leon Moore along with Trenton Gummer, looking to replace the production of Kenny Wosley. At linebacker, Tuitele keeps the green dot. We'll have new players, though, rotating with him. And then on the defensive line, I'm excited about Walter Newberry at defensive tackle. Let's discuss our team captains. It'll be Jamarion Calec-Bodie once again, A.J. Tuitele as well, and then the new captains will be Carson Boyd, R.J. Mosley, Chandler Telfair, he's been here since the start. I wanted to reward him. And then Cameron Hamill. I wanted to reward guys who have stuck around, but Hamill and Boyd, to me, are the 2 most important players on their respective sides of the ball. So I wanted to make it a point to give them the captain's patch as well. Wow, Notre Dame knocked off Clemson. Look at Steele Pizzella in his first game with the Fighting Irish. He played outstanding. Look at those numbers. Holy cow. Meanwhile, we get set for our first game of the year against Pitt. Our team does not play well early in the season. We have always lost our first game against an FBS opponent, and there's no wiggle room here. Pitt's really good. They're an 80 overall. Jaron Mock, a redshirt junior with 92 speed, leads the way at quarterback. They've got some good players. Noah Rosahawk is their left tackle. He was our left tackle the first 2 seasons of the series. I guess he ended up here at Pitt. Well, let's get season number 4 started. This Delaware team has grown very quickly. A lot quicker than I expected. If you told me at the start of this series that we would be an 89 in year 4, I would call you crazy. But now this is a team with legitimate playoff aspirations. Going into last year, we felt like anything less than a Conference USA title would be a failure. Of course, we ended up losing the conference title. In a lot of ways, I would argue the season was a failure. This year, though, there's nowhere to hide. Everybody and their mother is expecting us to be really good, and so we've got to prove them right. That starts today here at home against Pitt. We'll start on offense. Boyd hands it off for Oliver Lombard Coleman. Up the middle, the native of Sweden. Jukes away from a defender. He gets it near the 30. Coleman, of course, came from the University of Buffalo, who we're going to play against in a couple of weeks. RPO, Philip Fulmar with a juke move inside the 5. Fulmar, funny enough, also transferred in from Buffalo. So both of those guys are going to get to see their former teams as Jaden Wright walks into the end zone for a touchdown. And the Delaware Blue Hens strike first as it's 7-0. Here's the Pitt offense. Handoff for John Hawkins up the middle, follows his blocks. Breaking tackles, and he's wrapped up by Leon Irvin, our new nickel corner, redshirt sophomore. Hawkins again. That ball's out. Irvin with the fumble force, and it's picked up by the defense. Walter Newberry, the defensive tackle, recovers it. A couple of our new transfer portal players making an impact. 3rd down for the offense. Boyd connects with Fulmar. Juke move, and he does not get the first down. So Pitt gets the stop, and that brings us into the second. Third down and 12. Jaron Mock scrambles, looks to run. He's got room, and he's wrapped up by DeMarco Daniels, one of the only remaining day one players who is still here. Second and 10. Boyd wide open. It's Tyron Parker, who had a nice season for us last year after coming over from Kansas. Gets the first down. Second and 9. 5 to go. End zone. Touchdown up the seam for Parker. What a throw by Carson Boyd. His first touchdown as a Blue Hen. It's 14-0. Hawkins stopped on third down. Tavian Branch brings him down. The senior defensive tackle will get it back on offense with a 3rd and 12. Boyd looks to throw it under pressure. Hit as he throws. It's caught. Not quite a first down, but a nice throw under pressure and good set of hands. I think that was Parker again. We're going to go for it on 4th down as Jaden Wright gets the first down. Wright's more at the downhill physical runner. He was our short yardage back last year. I think he's going to play quite a bit more this year. As that one is somehow caught. R.J. Mosley comes back to the ball and makes the catch. Near the end zone, 3rd down. We're going to run the ball, just trying to put ourselves in field goal range and look to score that way. So Brendan Flavors will be on to kick, the sophomore from 37 yards out. My goal on this drive, no matter what, was to make it a 3-score lead. I didn't want to not get a 4th down, let Pitt get momentum back. This way we're up by 3 scores as the Panthers get it back with a 3rd down and 2. Jaron Mock looks to throw it. Mock scrambles around under pressure into traffic. It's intercepted. Cameron Hamill picks it off, the 90 overall senior safety, and we've got a chance to add to the lead even more. So far, so good in our first half of action. Boyd picked off, repays the favor. Jacob Weatherspoon with the interception for Pitt. That'll wrap up what was otherwise a very good first half. 17-0 for a Delaware team who normally starts seasons off poorly, who struggles early in the year against good opponents. We saw it with Carson Boyd's Illinois team 2 years ago. Today, we're mopping the floor with a Pitt squad that I think can contend in the ACC. This is certainly a statement. Mock connects with John Hawkins, who's got plenty of room. Hawkins past the 50. He's wrapped up by Hamill, who's really impressed me so far. 1st and goal. Mock scrambles. He's got 92 speed. Under pressure. Fumbles the ball. And it is picked up by Pitt. That was Ricky Williams with the strip sack. 3rd down and goal now for the Panthers. Mock will look to throw it. Under more pressure. Scrambles on the run. Nearly intercepted into the area of Hamill once again. And they just want points. So they're going to take the field goal. Malulu Muffy from 31. The kick is good. And Pitt is able to avenge the shutout at least as it's 17-3. Blue Hens get it back with a 3rd down and 10. Offense looked pretty good in the first half. Boyd under pressure, has Fulmar, low throw. Kind of caught him off his route though, and it's not going to let him get the first. So Pitt gets it back, 2 to go in the 3rd. Here's Mock, looks to scramble, and as I said earlier, this kid can run. Look at him go. Jaron Mock with a big run for the Panthers. 34 yards, their longest offensive play of the entire game. Into the 4th quarter now, 3rd and 10. Mock backs up in the pocket. He's going to scramble again, this time not as much. They are going to kick the field goal. Interesting. I would go for it. Try to get up their best shot at making it a 1-score game. The kick is blocked. Yeah, they probably should have went for it. Azir Lee with the denial. Another one of the day one players. And we're looking to chew some clock, get this game done with. 3rd and 7. Nice catch by Fulmar. He gets the first down. A great play by Philip Fulmar to move the chains. Now a 3rd down and 13. Boyd will look to throw it again. Scrambles a little bit, looking for the sideline. It's broken away, looking for Fulmar, who's been the go-to guy so far. Pitt gets it back. 3rd down and 4. Mock gets a screen. The backup running back is going the wrong way. A loss of yardage for Travion Branham. It's a 4th down. Now they're going to go for it. Mock looks to throw it. Under pressure from the inside of the pocket, but he's got a wide open receiver. That's John Hawkins with the first down, the redshirt sophomore running back. So they convert and keep the game alive. Is on 3rd down. Looking deep. It's caught for a touchdown. Jamie Dumaney, the redshirt freshman. And it's 17-10. This game's not over. 3rd down. Boyd on the run. Boyd's throw is caught. Big time play. 1st down. That's Tyron Parker, who's had a really good game. 3rd down now under 2 minutes. We're going to run the ball with Wright. Try to burn some clock. And so Pitt's going to get a chance to tie it, even though they only have 45 seconds and no timeouts. 3rd and 3. Mock scrambles under pressure. His pass is incomplete. and this is for the ball game. 4th down and 3. They will choose to go for it. Mock looks to throw it under pressure from the interior. His pass broken away. Kevin Moore got a hand on it, and Delaware starts the season 1-0. We've got a lot to clean up. We did not score in the second half. The offense started off strong, but then started to struggle later in the game. But our defense was tremendous, only allowing 10 points the entire night. And even though the offense took the second half off, our defense played well enough to still get the win against a really good opponent. I mean, this Pitt squad, they're no slouch, and that first half was extremely impressive. It sucks that, the fun kind of stalled a little bit in the second half, and Carson Boyd really didn't finish with that impressive of a game. The rushing attack really wasn't that good either. Wright was the better of the two running backs, although Tyron Parker and Philip Fulmar were both pretty good through the air. But the defense was the story. Leon Irvin, the corner, flying all around the field. Cameron Hamill was really good in coverage, had an interception. The defense, especially the back end, was absolutely phenomenal. Let's simulate the week. We go into week 2. We're still number 21. Notre Dame beat Alabama. Steel Pizzella so far has saved their program as Dabo Swinney defeats the school he coached at for many years, and then the following week, his alma mater in overtime. Pizzella has been unbelievably good. 79% completion percentage and 3 touchdowns in the win against the Crimson Tide. He's still only 3rd for the Heisman watch, but if he keeps this up, I imagine he will climb to the number 1 spot. So we've got Coastal Carolina this week. They beat my beloved Kansas Jayhawks in week 1, 34-26 at the booth. We played against these guys back in year number 1. We won that game, but it ended up being a pretty close one. A lot of chaos early in that game, a number of turnovers. They've got a good running back with Jermeco Green. King White at corner is very talented as well, but they don't have many other 80 overall players otherwise. Earl Steed, the lefty, will lead the charge for them at QB. And then we do the new injury, and it's kind of a long one. Casey Sisko, who we got in the portal, tore his pec, out for the year. That's unfortunate. He's not a starter, but he's one of our important depth players at linebacker. We're going to start to send some visits out as well. Remember, these 2 guys who were down to 5 were in the mix. We're going to have them come for next week's game against Buffalo. That being at home against a team who I think hopefully we can beat by a lot. But that starts with the Chanticleers. Here in week 2, we get to play on the Teal Stadium. That's pretty fun. Coastal Carolina, like Delaware, a team that rose into the FBS and played really well out the gate, but their momentum has really stalled in recent years, and obviously we're hoping that does not end up being the case for our Blue Hens, who are now in year 5 in the FBS, and year 4 in the rebuild, and here we are in the top 25 with legitimate playoff aspirations and goals. It's our first road game of the year. Again, this is a team that in all 3 seasons of our series usually does not play well early in the year. We're better later in the season after we kind of catch our groove. But if we can start this year off hot like we did in week 1, that would certainly be a big deal. Boyd, down the field, he's got Fulmar to about the 15-yard line. A big-time throw by Carson Boyd, who I'm hoping plays a little better. I didn't think he was that good in week 1. 2nd and inches, Jaden Wright walks into the end zone unscathed for an early touchdown. And for an offense who did not score in the second half last week, that's an encouraging start. Earl Steed on 3rd and 10 throws it up. It's batted away and incomplete. Good coverage by DJ Kelly. We would then march it down the field into the red zone. 3rd and goal. Boyd scrambles up the middle. He's close, but short. We're going to go for it. 4th and goal at the 1-yard line. We struggled to run it on 4th and short, so it's a pass. And it's caught. That was a ballsy throw. Above the defender into the hands of Jackson Bowman. Make it 14-0. 3rd down for the Chants. Under a ton of pressure, that ball's out. And it's picked up by the Delaware defense. The strip sack by DeMarco Daniels, who recovered his own fumble. Now on 2nd down, wide open, Tyron Parker, walk-in touchdown. And this game's getting ugly fast. 21-0 lead for the Blue Hens. Coastal Carolina returns. Their offense has been nothing short of an utter disaster. Steed's throw is caught! One-handed snag! The true freshman tight end, Russell Waddle, makes the play. Now 3rd and 7. Wide open down the field is Jeremiah Hoffman, who absolutely fries Calabote. And he gets it to about the 10. 3rd down now for Coastal Carolina. They're back at the 11. Steed looks to throw it. Under pressure on the blitz. It is broken away, incomplete. So we're going to have to force them to settle for a field goal. Josh Slater from 28. His kick is up and good, and the shots it clears are on the board as it's 21-3. Delaware gets it back, 4 to go in the first half. Boyd under pressure on the run, pass is caught. Jaden Wright slips through defenders past the 50. Nice maneuver after the catch, and our offense right now is totally on it. They look brilliant. Direct snap for Wright on 3rd and 2. Gets a couple of blocks past the 25 to 20. Juke move near the 15 for Jaden Wright, who's playing a really good game. On 1st down, Boyd scrambles to the right side. He's got Wright again. What a drive by the senior running back, Jaden Wright. In for a touchdown as it's now 28-3 here at the 2-minute timeout. 3rd down for the shot to clear. Steed under pressure, evades the first guy. His pass is broken away late. And Delaware gets it back, looking to add to the lead even more so. 2nd and 7, Boyd on the run, fumbles the ball, but it is recovered by the Blue Hens, and that'll make it a 3rd down. Here is Boyd, rolls out to the right, his pass incomplete for Fulmar. So Coastal Carolina gets the stop. They'll get it back on offense. 2nd and long, Steed, the lefty, his pass up the middle, it's caught. Nice grab by Jeremiah Hoffman, and they could be in position to score before the end of the half. On 3rd down, Steed under pressure, throws it away. Nothing going on that drive for the shot to clears, and that'll wrap up a very one-sided first half. It's been all Delaware, 28-3. The Blue Hens lead this one convincingly. We look awesome in this game. The defense forcing turnovers, making plays. Carson Boyd in the offense looks a lot better. But remember, we didn't score in the second half in week 1 against Pitt. So I'm hoping the offense can give us a little more, and we'll start with a quick stop on defense. And sure enough, the Hens are marching down the field on 3rd down. Boyd zips it for the end zone. Touchdown! Philip Fulmar, his first score as a Delaware Blue Hen, and it's 35-3. 2nd down for Coastal Carolina. Steed rips it down the field. What a catch! Wow, mossing the receiver. Isaac Madden makes the play. 3rd down now for Coastal Carolina. Short throw, nowhere to go. A loss of yardage for Angelo Nunn. That brings the offense back out there with a new set of players. Vi Zambrano's first pass as a Blue Hen is a pick. I wanted to get him some reps in this game because he's a guy who could start for his next year. But that's not the start he was hoping for. Tyderick Brown with the interception. Later in the 4th quarter, under pressure, new quarterback gets sacked. That's the backup, Prince Okpala, a 63 overall true freshman. 4th down and 20. Okpala hit as he throws, incomplete. I kind of want to treat this like a normal drive. Get these guys some reps. There's Terrell Cheeseman, the 3-star with his first reception as a Delaware Blue Hen. First of, I think, many. 2nd and goal, late in the 4th. It's Oliver Lundberg Coleman in for a score. A dominant win for the Delaware Blue Hens as we take it in week 2 over Coastal Carolina, 42-3. The score tells you exactly what you need to know. We were in clear control of this game from start to finish. The offense was a lot more consistent than we were in week 1, and the defense played really well. We only allowed 3 points. Through 2 weeks, we've only allowed, 13 total? That's quite good. As we take a look at the numbers, I still think we need more efficiency in the passing game. For a 2nd week in a row, Carson Boyd had a lot of incompletions. And what really caught my eye when we played against Boyd the 3 times over the last 2 years, he didn't throw many incompletions. In the game at Illinois, I think he was perfect. And then the 2 at New Mexico State, he had to have been above 80% both times. Very balanced in terms of the skill position guys. Jaden Wright was probably the best of the bunch. And then the defense was phenomenal. DeMarco Daniels leading the way, 3 TFLs, a sack and a half, a fumble force, and a recovery. So we're 2-0. Going into week 3, and we've got the Buffalo Bulls. And I'm excited about this game. Oliver Lundberg Coleman, in my opinion, our best running back came from Buffalo. Philip Fulmar, our best receiver, came from Buffalo. So there's a lot of connections between these 2 teams, and it was really ironic that they happened to be on the schedule. So far, they're 0-2, competitive losses with Liberty and Illinois, but they're 60 overall. We're basically a 90. That's a 30 rating point difference. On paper, we are far better than these guys. They do have some good players. Gavin Packer at wide receiver and Demarius Robinson at running back. Their quarterback is redshirt senior Jason Wright, who all things considered is one of the best quarterbacks in the MAC. I think they're a lot better than their 60 overall rating suggests. They're higher than Coastal Carolina, I think, in terms of pure talent, but their rating number is lower. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but I think they're a pretty good squad. Or at least a pretty good squad for being, a 60 overall. We should still comfortably win this game, especially with those recruits visiting the campus this week. Early pass is picked off. Leon Irvin all the way for a pick six on the interception thrown by Jason Wright. A quick start for the Blue Hen defense. This kid Irvin really impresses me. He's not quite Kenny Wosley around the line of scrimmage, but in the slot, I think he's a better cover player. I think he's really still very instinctive around the ball. He's already been responsible for multiple turnovers. They're going to run it on third down this time. Doesn't exactly work out. Good tackle by DeMarco Daniels. And we get it here on offense. Third down, Boyd on the run. His pass really should have been intercepted. That was horrible. We're just going to punt it away. And at the second quarter, our only touchdown so far on the defensive end of the field as the Bulls get nothing on third down. Gavin Packer loses yardage. They could really use some playmakers. A guy like Philip Fulmar or Oliver Lundberg Coleman. Oh, wait. Look at Boyd. Gets a big block, and he's out of bounds near the 5. And that was Fulmar with the last block, the former Buffalo receiver. Third and goal. Boyd under a ton of pressure has to throw out of the sack. So we're unable to punch it in, but we are going to go for it on fourth down. Boyd looks to throw it. Scrambles. Has room. Touchdown, Delaware. Carson Boyd with a rushing touchdown, and it's 14-0 in favor of the Blue Hens. Offense has been a little meh so far. That's our first score of the game on that side of the ball as it's third down for Buffalo. Wright looks to throw it under pressure into the ground, incomplete, and they decided to punt it. On fourth down, giving us the ball back on offense. On first down, here's Boyd under pressure on the blitz. He's got Coleman, who breaks a tackle, and there he goes! Oliver Lundberg Coleman, Sweden's finest, and the former Buffalo standout. 80 yards to the house for a touchdown. And the Blue Hens lead it 21-0, doing it against his former school. Here is Jason Wright looking to get Buffalo some points. Good throw and catch, and a nice play after the catch as well. Nate Wilder, the tight end, gets them inside the 10 with 12 seconds now, third and goal. Here is Wright looking, end zone, not even close. And they're going to have to settle for a field goal. They would make the kick from Ty Powell. 21-3, though, going into half. We're continuing to play outstanding ball. I think the offense started off a little sluggish, but we look good down the stretch, and the defense, again, looks brilliant. Into the third on third down. Here is Boyd. He's got Fulmar, his first catch of the game, and they're not going to give him the first. I decided let's not get cute. Let's not do anything stupid. We'll punt the ball. Here is Wright. Short throw. Nowhere to go on third down. A great tackle by Calaboti, and they're going to go for it. Halfway through the third, down by 3 scores. They figure, why not? Wright looks to throw it. Under a little pressure. Scrambles up the middle, and he does get the first down. Diving forward for a gain of a few, but that's all they need. Third down now. Here is Wright. Scrambles up the middle, and he is going to slide down at the 45. And now they're going to punt it. Interesting. Third down here for Delaware. Boyd steps up, surveys the field. His pass is caught. How did he make that one work? I think that was Mosley who made the play. Minute and a half left in the third. Short throw. Mosley again. Juke move. First down. Tiptoes his way to about the 10. Second and 7. 50 to go in the third. Here's Boyd. Rolls out. Carson Boyd on the run. Can he dive in? He does! Second rushing touchdown in the afternoon for Carson Boyd. And it's again 28-3. Sorry, Falcons fans, 2 weeks in a row. Into the fourth. Third down. Wright's pass is picked off. Cameron Hamill, his second of the year. And Delaware is going to get it back. We are going to keep the starters in the game, though. Under 3 minutes to go, it's a third and goal. Short throw. Jaden Wright in for a touchdown. I think he scored in all 3 weeks now. Delaware is going to win this game 35-3. Back-to-back blowouts for a red-hot Blue Hens team who through 3 weeks has only allowed 16 points. I would say this was probably our best game of the year in terms of how complete we looked. Carson Boyd especially, I thought, played his best game, and this is a lot more of what I expected from him when we landed him in the portal. He threw for 2 scores, he ran for 2 more. 16 of 23, 15 yards per completion, that is a lot. The run game was solid. Coleman led the team in rushing and receiving against his former school, while Fulmar was a little quieter, only 1 catch. I will say the offensive line's been a little meh so far. We haven't allowed a ton of big sack numbers, But Carson Boyd's been under a lot more pressure than Pizzella was last year, I think. And then defensively, back-to-back great games. We've allowed 0 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks. We'll see if we can keep it going. The schedule gets a little bit more intense with us now going into American Conference play. But don't forget, we had these 2 prospects visit. Wide receiver Teddy Stove and safety Tim Marciano. So hopefully this helps us land them, having really good visits with a blowout win against Buffalo. And we have pretty good pitches for both of these guys. Stove, I'm not too confident in, which sucks because he looks like a beast. Marciano, I feel a little bit better about. I did not expect, though, for him to hard commit on the spot. Not complaining, though. Stove, meanwhile, despite the visit, will go to Wisconsin. But Tim was at 5 schools left. He skips top 3. He skips verbal commit. He's locked in, which is exciting. Our first commitment of the cycle. I think unlike the first 3 years, we're going to have a lot more freshmen in this class, and we're going to do it a lot quicker. Leon Irvin wins the American Defensive Player of the Week, and he wins the National Defensive Player of the Week. So shout out Leon Irvin, taking home those awards as we start in conference play, our first ever American game in Annapolis, Maryland against Navy. So these 4-star prospects we actually kind of have a shot for, the quarterback and the running back. We're going to have Camella come week 6 against North Texas. We have a B-plus pitch for him. And then we're going to have a few more guys come, including linebacker Aaron Broyles. The 4-star running back isn't here yet, but I think we'll be able to schedule him a visit next week for the North Texas game. So we're going to wait on him and give Cole Merriman the 3rd spot and then leave one more open going into next week as we take a look at the midshipmen who are currently 1-2. As we look at this conference, I think UAB, South Florida, Tulane, and probably Memphis are the teams to really watch out for in terms of rating, in terms of star prestige, and in terms of performance so far this season. Navy, meanwhile, is a 74, is one of the higher-rated teams in this conference. They gave Ohio State a competitive match to start the year, and then they beat USC on the road. So even though they're 1-2, these guys are good, really good, I think. Although, why do they have 2 86 overall kickers and 3 83-plus putters? That feels like a little bit of overkill. But they've got some good skill position guys, a really good running back, really good receiver, and Jack Dalton, an 81 overall at quarterback who can really run. So even though this Navy team is 1-2, I think they're one of the upper echelon opponents in our conference. They've given themselves a really tough start to the year. They were competitive against Ohio State, who I think is ranked number 2, and then beating USC on the road. This game loves USC. That is a really stunning victory. So I think this could prove to be a really tough matchup, and if we're able to win this one, that would be pretty telling about where this team is. If we want to make the playoff, though, we've got to do it as the conference champion. So these games are unbelievably fumble! It's picked up by Navy, though. Cameron Hamill forces it away. But as I was saying, these conference games now are more important than the non-con games. That was the early taste. Now it's time for the load. Pitch to the outside. Big run for Warwick Sellers. Their starting running back, who I think has missed the last couple of weeks, but he's back. He gains 25 on 3rd down. Dalton hit as he throws incomplete. So an interesting opening drive. We nearly had the turnover. Now we get it back on offense after the stop, and we're moving it pretty well here on offense. With about a minute left in the quarter, Boyd gets sacked. Shane Rochelle brings him down, and we're going to have to settle for a field goal. 52-yarder for Flavors, who's been pretty quiet so far this year, but hasn't missed any kicks. That one is good, and Delaware makes it 3-0. Flavors had a pretty good freshman year. I know he had the one game against Middle Tennessee State where he missed like 4 kicks, but otherwise, he was pretty good. 3rd down in the second, low-scoring start. Dalton misses on the screen, and we will get it back on offense. 3rd down and 10. Here is Boyd on the run. That one is caught by Parker past the 50. A big play for Tyron Parker, and Delaware's looking to move it. 2nd and 10 now. Boyd lofts it up. 1-on-1, it's caught! Philip Fulbar inside the 15. We'll see if we can punch this in and add to the lead. It's Coleman. Touchdown, Delaware! Took us, again, just like last week, a quarter and a half to find the end zone. So I'm noticing a trend. The offense is starting kind of slow. The 2 weeks prior, though, they started really fast. I don't get it. 10-0, pitch to the outside. You know Navy loves their triple option. I don't know what he was doing there. That could have been an even bigger run, but still a 1st down for Sellers, who's been pretty good in this game. 3rd and 14, screen. Not a chance. Delaware calls time. We'll look to add to our lead late here in the first half. Already up 10-0. With about 36 seconds, 2 timeouts. Handoff for Coleman, who scored on the last drive. Fighting for yardage on 3rd and 7, and he gets 5. So much so that I think we can go for it. I was kind of waving the white flag, but 4th and 2. Boyd on the run, will scramble for the first. He's out of bounds near the 15. That'll keep the drive going. 23 seconds, play action. Boyd dishes it off for Jaden Wright. He might as well build real estate in the end zone. 17-0 going into the break. This Delaware team is firing right now. The offense with back-to-back touchdown drives. This defense, though, continues to be the story. We have not allowed a touchdown since the first game of the year. If we keep the score where it's at, that'd be 3 straight weeks without allowing a touchdown. Here's Tyron Parker on the end around. Juke move past the 30. I think Parker's been the best receiver of the bunch so far. He's been better than Mosley. He's been better than Fulmar. He's been amazing this year. On 3rd down, Boyd under pressure. That one is caught. It's Mosley who gets it to about the 10. 3rd down and 13. Boyd under pressure. Scrambles. End zone. How did he not score? What are you doing, Parker? We're going to have to go for it on 4th and 1, but it's fine. We get the touchdown anyway. Oliver Lundberg-Coleman, his 2nd of the game. And it's 24-0 as he rips the chainsaw. Navy gets it back. 3rd down, their offense has had to run into this gargantuan defense. Tackle for loss by Kevin Moore. They're going to have to punt it away. We get it back now. First play of the 4th. 3rd and 12. Here's Boyd. Scrambles under pressure. Fumbles it again. Kicked on the ground. It is picked up by Delaware, but we're going to have to punt it. Boyd's been a little reckless. He's fumbled it twice. Navy's got it back on offense. 4th and 2. The fullback gets the first down. Takes a shot from Tui Tele. Another 4th down, now 4th and 3. This time it's the running back who gets the first down. That one was Tristan White, his first carry of the game. Will 3rd time be the charm? Another 4th down. Dalton looking for the end zone. Broken away, incomplete. And that will... What on earth were they doing with that celebration? 24-0, a shutout win for Delaware, who improves to 4-0. I'm hoping we can get that ranking up. We've only gone up a couple of spots this year. We're number 20 at the moment. Our defense, though, is just plain ridiculous. Over the last 3 weeks, we've allowed 6 points. And through 4 games total, we've allowed 16. That's 4 per game. This defense is just on another level. The offense has been up and down, but they haven't needed to play well. They could have scored 3 points and still won the game. Colvin with a nice showing, 67 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. Tyron Parker led the way. Fulmar with a good game as well. And then this defense, they are ridiculous. Cameron Hamill is a superstar. That guy flies around the field. He knows exactly where the ball is. He should be a very high draft pick. He is a ridiculous player at safety. We've allowed 16 points through 4 weeks, and we have not allowed a touchdown since the Pitt game. I'm not expecting this pace to keep up, but this is really, really impressive. So we've got another big game on the road next week against Memphis in Week 5. As I was expecting, the 4-star running back, Cordell Sparks, is ready for his visit. So we made a good decision timing up our visits when we did, because now we can have him come in for the Week 6 game against North Texas. Michigan State's got the edge on us, and their program's actually really good in this series. I think they're ranked in the top 5. But if we put a lot of points into him moving forward and have a good visit, maybe we could land him. We're going to go all in on those 2 4-stars, especially Sparks. I think he would be our RB1 next year. So let's look at Memphis. These guys are one of the best programs in our conference, 73 overall. They beat Mississippi State, Arkansas State, UNLV, and lost by 1 score on the road against number 5 Oklahoma. So all in all, a good loss. Anthony Rogers leads the way. We tried to get him in the portal, the standout at Ohio State, but it was obvious it was going to be Memphis the entire way. Ijani Shakir leads the way at receiver. A lot of good players, especially on the lines. And then Justin Crandall, who beat out Gunnar Pruitt for the starting quarterback job. They're very talented, particularly on offense, but their defense is good too. This is one of the best programs in our conference. It's their first in-conference game, so it's a really important one for them. On the road in Memphis, this is certainly going to be one of our toughest games of the year. And if we win today, improve to 5-0, beat 2 of the better teams on the road in American athletic play, then I will be irrationally confident about where this team can go the rest of the year. Ranking now number 19 as it's a 3rd down. Pass is broken away from Mosley. So Memphis gets the stop. They will get it back on offense. Justin Crandall on 3rd down looks to throw it. Crandall down the field. It is caught! What a catch by Quincy Agudosi. And Memphis is in striking distance as they will score the touchdown. Anthony Rogers with the score. And for the first time in a month, Delaware is allowed a touchdown. And for the first time all year, Delaware is trailing. Here's Carson Boyd on the read option. Look at all that room. Probably should have slid. He's taken a lot of hits this year, but a good run for Boyd. He gets the first. Now a 3rd down and 13. Boyd looks to throw it. Scrambles, sets his feet. Under a ton of pressure. Got to get rid of it. And, well, at least he does. Brendan Flavors on to come out for a 47-yard field goal try, looking to make it a 7-3 ball game. Of course, he has not missed a kick yet this season, and that perfect record will continue as that one is right down Main Street. Memphis gets it back. Their first drive, a very good one. They marched it right down the field against the team who hadn't a lot of touchdown in a month. Here is Crandall on 3rd and 4 under pressure, and he is sacked. Elijah Groves, the senior linebacker who we got out of the portal, brings him down, and we'll get it back on offense. Here's Parker on the end around. Tyron Parker past the 25 to 20, the 15, out of bounds with a big play for the Blue Hen offense as it officially goes as a gain of 27. On 3rd and 8, Boyd, short throw, touchdown. A walk-in score for Jackson Bowman. And Delaware takes the lead. We looked a little sloppy early in this game, but now we've got ourselves ahead 10-7. Final play at the quarter. Crandall on 1st down. He is intercepted. It's Cameron Hamill. High stepping all the way for a pick 6. What an ending to the first quarter for Delaware, who scores touchdowns on the final 2 plays from scrimmage. Hamill, through just over 4 games, now has 3 interceptions and a fumble force. What a beast. 17-7 into the second. Here's Crandall under pressure, and he is thrown to the turf by Trenton Gummer, the senior corner who's been here since he was a freshman, episode 1. 3rd down and 22 now for Memphis. They're just going to run the ball. Nowhere to go for Anthony Rogers, and that'll force a punt as we've got an injured player on the field. That's Ricky Williams. 3rd down and 15 for Delaware. Started slow, but we've got all the momentum. Boyd's pass is caught. Not going to be enough, though, for Mosley to get the 1st down, and we are going to go for it on 4th and 7. I think it's too long for the field goal. Boyd scrambles under pressure. Hit as he throws. It's caught. Mosley gets the 1st down. How did that work? I mean, he was just throwing up junk, hoping for the best. Boyd, that one is caught for a touchdown. Tyron Parker, and it's 24-7. How did this game so quickly turn in our favor? 3rd down for Memphis. Crandall, his pass is caught. Big hit. Not going to be enough, though, for the 1st down. Johnny Shakir takes a shot, and they would just end up punting the ball. 24-7, your score. We started a little slow, but we scored on the final 2 plays of the first quarter. Had another touchdown in the second off of a big 4th down conversion, and we lead by 3 scores. 3rd down for Memphis. Crandall, that one is caught. Big throw down the field. It's hauled in for a huge 3rd down conversion by Robert Roundtree. On 3rd down, end zone, touchdown Memphis! The Tigers are within 2 scores. It's Roundtree again. Okay, maybe Memphis is going to make it interesting. 24-14, 3rd down and 12 for the Blue Hens. Looking to throw it on the screen is Boyd. He's got Mosley, who's had a huge game. Does not get the 1st, though. Memphis gets it back. On 1st down, Crandall looks to pass it under a little pressure. Up the middle, caught again. Broken tackle for Ronnie Kurpakis, the senior. And now on 2nd and goal. End zone, touchdown. That's the tight end, Kurt Sorensen. And it's a 1-score game. A huge 3rd quarter for Memphis, who went into the half down by 3 possessions. Now they're only down by 3 points. Here's Boyd. He's got Fulmar wide open. That's how you respond. Phillip Fulmar all the way to about the 2. 77 yards. He couldn't quite get it into the end zone, but a huge play for Delaware coming off 2 touchdowns allowed defensively. We certainly needed an offensive spark like that, and a score by Oliver Lundberg Coleman. 31-21, it's back to a 2-score lead. A quick response by the Blue Hens as we move into the 4th, where Memphis is still down by 10. 2nd and 7, Crandall's going to scramble. On the run, that one is caught by Shakir. Was he taunting the defender, pointing at him? Gets the 1st, and this Memphis offense has been flawless in the second half. Can they punch it in on 3rd and goal? Crandall hands it off, and they are short. As the running back is stopped, Mustafa Okunyaninu, and they're going to kick the field goal. Interesting decision here, but they do want to make it a 1-score game. Adrian Carmazzi on the kick. That one is good, and it's 31-24. We've just got to choose some clock on offense. Don't do anything stupid. 3rd and 8. Boyd's pass is caught. Not going to be enough, though, for the first down. That's Mosley with the reception. And Memphis is going to have a chance to tie the game. Only down by 7 with the ball on 3rd down. Crandall hit as he throws incomplete. They're going to have to go for it. No, they're going to punt it. Wow. Boyd fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by Memphis. Are you kidding me? And Mosley's hurt. The decision to punt it proves to be a good one. Here comes the Tigers. That one is caught. Broken tackle of Godosi to about the 10. Now they're really in striking distance to tie it. And they will. Superman diving into the end zone is Mustafa Okunyaninyanu. And we're knotted up. 31 apiece. And here returns Delaware. Boyd scrambles on 1st down, floats it up, looking for his running back, Coleman. Into the bucket past the 45, and that brings us to the 2-minute timeout. Boyd on 1st down, off the blitz. Sacked. Huge play by Memphis as he's wrapped up by William Azur. On 3rd down, we're going to run the ball. Try to flush a timeout. We've got to trust our defense, who only allowed 24 points the first 4 weeks of the year. They've allowed 24 points in the second half of this game. And look at Crandall on the option. Juke move to about the 50. All they need is a field goal, by the way, to win the game. If they get another 1st down, we are in massive trouble. Past the 40, they get the conversion to Roundtree. Following play. Under pressure, up the middle for Roundtree. He gets it to about the 10. We've got to start burning our timeouts at this point, right? That's our first. Here is Crandall on the option. We're just trying to hit him as hard as possible, jar the ball away, because otherwise they can run the clock out and kick a field goal as time expires. I mean, we're hoping for a miracle. Crandall loses yardage, but he doesn't fumble it, so that play doesn't do us any good. We use our last timeout. They should really just kneel the clock out and then kick the field goal. 3rd down and about 12. It's a run. It's an option. Crandall fumbles the ball, and Delaware's got it! The game is still alive! The defense forces the turnover. Julius Puryear forces it out, and it's Calaboni who recovers it. An absolute miracle for the Blue Hens. I just wanted to run the clock out, but Coleman actually gave us kind of a good run. So maybe we can get another play in. We don't have any timeouts. We're going to have to snap it quickly. 7, 6, 5. Boyd calls an audible. Final play of regulation. We're just going to go short. Very anticlimactic, I know. But I figured, let's just take the game to overtime. We're lucky it got to this point to begin with. A miraculous 3rd down fumble keeps us in the game. I feel like it always lands on heads. What happened to Tails Never Fails? Memphis wins the toss. We're going to start with the ball. The offense has not really been the problem today. They haven't been perfect, but they've got 31 points. Boyd scrambles. End zone. Touchdown. It's too easy. Taunting the Memphis defense. A quick start for Carson Boyd. And now our defense has got to get a stop. We, of course, lost in double overtime to Carson Boyd last year. For the end zone. Intercepted. Calaboni calls game. And Delaware somehow, someway, wins it in the M. 38-31. We did not deserve to win this game, but we got really lucky. Good teams find ways to win. And that fumble in the red zone on 3rd down with 30 seconds left is the play of the series so far, because if they just get tackled like normal, Memphis can chew clock and end the game. But we somehow find a way to jar the ball out, get it back, and win it in overtime. Holy cow, that was crazy. This Memphis team is legit, man. They are really good. They scored 31 on us. We didn't allow 31 points in the first 4 games. Boyd was up and down. We ran it well. Coleman was really good again. Mosley with a huge game. Parker with a score. Defensively, I don't know what that was. We were not good for most of the game, but the 2 most important drives of the year, we forced turnovers on both of them. So, got to give the defense a little bit of props there. The Blue Hens are now 5-0. Again, we didn't play great, but a road win against one of the better teams in the conference, it's hard to complain. Our old friend Steele Pizzella, by the way, is in first place for the Heisman. So it seems like everybody's doing well in that trade-off. And again, we'll get to see him later in the year. As we simulate the week, we've got a lot of visits for the North Texas game, including four-star quarterback Emilio Camella, a top 10 quarterback in the country. Running back Cordell Sparks, who looks like a really good player, and a couple other guys too. We do have a big injury, though, and it's a big one. R.J. Mosley, dislocated ankle. He's going to miss roughly the next 5 or 6 games. That's a huge loss. He missed the end of last season with an injury, and he's hurt again. Philip Fulmar is going to have to step up. Tyron Parker is going to have to step up. Corbin Glasgow will be the wide receiver 3, and we'll probably see more Ty Salazar as well. North Texas is 3-3. They also played a competitive game at Ohio State. Look at the American playing well out of conference. They're led by Maxwell Young. Isn't this the kid who was in the Super Bowl commercial? Who overtime was following around? Isn't he technically like the Julian Newman of football? Well, he's developed into a pretty good player. He's an 86, and he's having a great year for the Mean Green, on pace for about 1,000 yards. So I guess he can kind of play a little bit more than Julian Newman could. Jordan Bernstein, redshirt sophomore, leads the way at quarterback. These guys are solid. They haven't quite hit the mark of where they were in 2025 with Drew Mestemaker and Caleb Hawkins and Wyatt Young. But these guys are very respectable. 3-3. I wouldn't say one of the better teams in the conference, but definitely not one of the bottom feeders in the conference either. I would put them comfortably in the middle class. Rocking the black alternates. Boyd, end zone, quick touchdown. A fast start for Delaware. That's Corbin Glasgow. We're going to hear his name a lot the rest of the way after the unfortunate injury to Mosley last week, coming off his best game. Bernstein on third down, picked off by, take a guess, Cameron Hamill. His 4th interception and his 5th forced turnover of the year. This guy looks like a first-round draft pick. Seriously. Second down for Delaware. Look at all that running room for Carson Boyd. Past the 30, the 25, the 20. A juke move. Boyd all the way to about the 15. It's a gain of 41. One of our longest runs of the entire year. Delaware looking to add to the lead. 2nd and goal. Boyd takes a shot. That'll make it a 3rd down and goal. Boyd injured on the play, so Vizembrano comes in. He hands it off for Coleman. They were not expecting run. Touchdown, Delaware. Jaden Wright was the better running back to start the year, but over the last few weeks, I think Oliver Lundberg Coleman has passed him again as the RB1. 3rd down for North Texas. Bernstein ends up getting sacked. It's Walter Newberry who brings him down. He's been a good transfer addition. Offense is back. Boyd is back. What a catch! How in the world did the receiver hang on to that? That's Corbin Glasgow again. He looks good in the second quarter. 3rd and goal. Boyd, end zone, batted away, incomplete. We're just going to take the points. Make it a 3-score lead. Again, no reason to give the other team any kind of energy, any kind of momentum, because it's 17-0. North Texas gets it back. They find themselves down big early. The defense playing a lot more like themselves, as that one is incomplete from Jordan Bernstein, and they're going to have to punt it again. Boyd, play action, looks to throw it up the middle. That one is hauled in. Another play for Corbin Glasgow. He looks amazing in this game. Boyd, he's got Fulmar. Juke move, spin move, touchdown Delaware. Philip Fulmar flexing in the end zone with the score, 24-0. We are looking a lot more like ourselves. Now ranked number 17, by the way. Bernstein's pass, tipped and intercepted. Jamarion Caligbodi, back-to-back weeks with an interception for the senior. What's crazy is that he only had 1 interception over the last 2 years prior to this season, but he's got 2 in a row as Coleman lowers the shoulder. Another score for Oliver Lundberg Coleman, his 2nd of the game, and it's 31-0. 3rd down, Bernstein goes short, and they are not going to get the first down. I don't know why the receiver just didn't run up the middle. I mean, he made multiple guys miss. We'll get it back on offense. This game is a complete rout. Here's Boyd on 3rd down, hoisted up down the field, nearly intercepted, really should have been. Boyd has not been picked off since the first game, but he's had a couple of bad misses. On 3rd down, that one is caught. Another non-first down for North Texas. They do have 2 timeouts, though, so they are going to call one with 2 seconds and bring the field goal unit on. George Marciano from 58 to put the Mean Green on the board. His kick is up, and it is good! 58-yarder at the buzzer, and North Texas cuts the lead all the way to 28. 31-3, a dominant first half. I think this is our best half of the year. I think the offense is playing at their best. I think the defense looks phenomenal, especially coming off a pretty bad game last week, certainly for our standards, against Memphis. We look awesome. This might be another game where we see the backups out there. I mean, Zambrano was already out there to begin with. With Carson Boyd dinged up, we'll certainly look to get him out sooner rather than later. North Texas will start with the ball, and they're looking to get some damage done. Josh Sabry with a juke move, the junior running back, with a gain of about 27. Third down now for the Mean Green. Third down at about 16. Bernstein looks to throw it. Under pressure on the run. It is dropped. So the defense gets to stop. Marciano's kick is up, and it is good. Another field goal for North Texas. And it's 31-6. Offense gets it back. Starter's still out there for now. Boyd on the run. Looking way down the field, and it is dropped. That was a perfect throw, but Fulmar cannot hold on. North Texas gets it back. They've arguably outplayed us over the last 6-7 minutes. Not for long, says the defense. It's Bryce Robinson with the sack, and now it is a 2nd and long for North Texas. Looking to throw it is Bernstein under more pressure. Sacked again. Big hit. In the backfield, Ricky Williams, and they would end up punting it. Into the 4th now. Here's Coleman. Juke move. First down. We're going to run the ball a lot here down the stretch. Zambrano in at quarterback. Don't want to risk anything with Boyd. As this time it's Jaden Wright. Follows his blocks. Wright fighting his way forward. He gets it near the end zone, but just a little bit short. 1st and goal. Wright back in at running back. He gets the handoff, and he is in for a touchdown. 38-6 lead for Delaware. A dominant win at home, looking to push us up to 6-0. First down. Another sack. The pass rush has come alive in the second half. A.J. Tuitele brings him down. Oh! That's not good. Ricky Williams tore his pec, out for the year. Yikes. 4th down. That one is somehow caught. Not enough for the first down, though. So Delaware gets the stop. We're in position to score again. As this time it's Coleman with the touchdown. A 45er put on the board by Delaware. We take this one 45-6. We're now 6-0 overall, 3-0 in conference. And through the first half of the regular season, it looks like we are the team to beat in the American Athletic Conference. Coleman with a hat trick, 3 touchdowns. The defense playing really well again. We do lose one of our better defensive players for the year, though, in Ricky Williams. So we're going to have to find a way to survive without him. We played awesome, though. This was our best performance, I think, of the year. They averaged 2.4 yards per play. Yikes. Carson Boyd was really good, and Brendan Flavors had 3 throws. When did that happen? I don't know. Glasgow had a really good first start as a Delaware receiver. He played very well. And then the defense was absolutely terrific. Cameron Hamill, I've run out of good things to say about him. He is electric. We are so lucky to have gotten him in the portal. Let's simulate the week now onto the second half of the year, and our ranking is going to continue to climb. We go from number 17 to number 12. So if the season ended today, we'd be in the college football playoff. That's crazy. Now we've got to keep things going, but that is very exciting. On to the second half of the year. It's our 2nd linebacker to suffer a season-ending pectoral injury with Ricky Williams. It's strange that it's happened twice, but I'd only get 10 cents out of it. So we're going to need these other linebackers to step up. Obviously, Tuitele is the mic. Groves, per year. DeMarco Daniels, we're going to ask a lot out of these guys. Right now, there's 3 undefeated teams in the conference. It's us, South Florida, and Tulane. And we play both of those teams later in the year, but we start with Rice. Look at these tough schedules. BYU, LSU, these teams in the American are really challenging themselves. Give them credit. The Owls are 2-5. Their best player is guard Tyler Thomas. We went after him as a freshman in the portal in year 1. We didn't get him. Now he's the best player on a Rice team that, well, I mean, they're 2-5. They've got some good receivers, though, and Deion Benshaw is their highest-rated quarterback, but he's not the starter. It's the third-stringer, Colin Cody, who's taken most of the reps this year, and even though Benshaw's not injured or anything, Colin Cody is going to be the starter in this game. Now on to the second half of the year. Steele Pizzella still is in first place for the Heisman race. He's been pretty much at the top basically the entire year. He's playing outstanding for Notre Dame, who currently sits 5-0, but they're not ranked, which is a really big surprise given some of the teams they've beaten. But even with back-to-back bye weeks, he's still in first for the Heisman. He is playing outstanding, and of course, we're going to get to see him later in the year. But we continue with American Conference play against the Rice Owls, one of the top academic institutions in America. but I cannot say the same for their football team, only with a record of 2-5, starting their third best quarterback for seemingly no reason. They do have a beautiful stadium, though, and they're marching down the field very nicely on their opening drive as they've got it inside the 5-yard line and around the 1. Good run by Jason Curtis, and now here's the quarterback, Cody, on the read option, in for a touchdown. Colin Cody puts Rice on the board first. They march right down the field and lead at 7-0. Boyd's pass is caught. It's Tyron Parker to the outside, and there he goes. 15-10, 5, touchdown! Delaware quickly ties it up. A 61-yarder on a play that really wasn't even supposed to be an explosive, but they didn't really have anybody on the right side of the field to match up with him. Jadarius Furio on 3rd and 13 does not get it. A drive-ending tackle by Kevin Moore. I thought he was easily going to get that. We were not prepared for the run at all. But we would march down the field in the second quarter and ultimately take the lead. It's Tyron Parker, who's got 2 catches in this game, both of which have gone for touchdowns, and it's 14-7. Option attempt, fumble, and it's picked up by the defense. Cody got a little lost in the sauce there. He should have just kept it and taken the loss of yardage, but instead he coughs it up. Cole Carmichael recovers it. Tavian Branch with the force. We're not going to do anything with this drive, but because of the really good field position, we're still going to tack on 3 points. 38-yarder for Brendan Flavors is good, and it's 17-7 going into the break. A little bit of a slow start, but the offense is looking good, and the defense has certainly picked it up since the opening drive. We'll see if we can keep it going in the second half as we look to position ourselves with a record of 7-0. We're right now number 12. If the season ended today, we would be in the playoff. As Philip Fulmar makes the catch but does not get the first down, so Rice is going to get it back. Cody on the option. He gets lit up and will not get the first down. Another drive-ending tackle in the back end for the Blue Hens, who get it back on offense. It's a pitch. Tyron Parker bounces to the outside. He fumbles it. And it's picked up by Delaware. That could have been bad news. Parker, who scored twice in this game, nearly gave them the ball. Trey Bell III with the force. Boyd on the run. What a catch! Wow, that was a really impressive play for Corbin Glasgow, who seems to have something for the theatrics. He's made a few crazy catches, and Oliver Lumberg-Coleman finishes off the drive with a touchdown. 24 consecutive points for Delaware. It's a 3-score lead now into the fourth quarter. 3rd and 3. Cody looks to throw it. Scrambles under pressure, and he gets sacked. It's Elijah Groves who brings him down. Our transfer linebacker who's gotten a lot of extra PT with the season-ending injury to Ricky Williams. They're going to go for it on 4th down. Cody's pass is caught, and the drive continues. We were going for the interception. That was McDonald, who should have just played the receiver. If it was incomplete, we would have gotten the ball back. Some trickery, a backwards pitch for Dexter DeWitt, who breaks a tackle. And another! DeWitt into the end zone for a Rice touchdown. And this game isn't quite over. How about that play call by the Owls? It's 24-14 on 1st down. Here's Boyd. Looks to throw it. Scrambles around under pressure. Boyd on the run, hoping to get the big play. Hoists it up, and that might be the worst decision I've ever seen in my life. He was trying to go off his back foot. There was a receiver on the opposite side of the field who was open. I see what he was trying to do, but it failed miserably. And now here's Jason Curtis. He's going to make it a 3-point game off the original interception by Jason Richmond. And now it's 24-21. We're in danger. Jaden Wright on the first play of the drive gets a block, breaks a tackle, and there goes Wright, looking to repay the favor. 30, 20, 10, 5, out of bounds at about the 2. He could have probably scored, but it's hard to complain with a gain of 79. And luckily, he would punch it in on 3rd and goal. Don't worry, Jaden Wright fantasy owners, you still get your touchdown. So Delaware's back up by 2 scores. That could have gone a lot worse. 31-21 Rice with a 4th down and 4. Obviously, they've got to go for it. Cody's pass is incomplete. So the Delaware defense gets the stop. We get it back on offense, and Jaden Wright scores again, making it a 3-score lead and pretty much putting the game out of reach as it's 38-21. Rice is going to get it back again. Another 4th down, 4th and 13. Colin Cody hoists it up the middle, and it is once again incomplete. Delaware gets it back on offense, looking to choose some clock, but Jaden Wright has a better idea. Whoop! Juke move, touchdown. That's a hat trick. His 3rd touchdown in the last minute and a half of game time. And Delaware wins at 45-21. We win by a lot, 24 points. We scored nearly 50, but they had us spooked a little bit. 3 minutes ago, we were only up by 3. So the game was certainly closer, I think, than the score really suggests. Defense could have been a little better. Offense could have been a little bit smarter, but we still managed to score nearly 50 points. The interception, though, by Boyd was just brutal. I mean, that was a disastrous throw. Only his second interception of the year, his first since week 1 against Pitt. But luckily, Jaden Wright had a huge finish. We only had 3 guys catch passes for us, but all the receivers made plays. And then the defense wasn't horrible, especially the first 3 quarters. We were really good. Then in the fourth, we got tripped up by the one-trick play. Off of the turnover, we allowed the touchdown, but luckily the offense scored nearly 50. We are struggling a little bit on the recruiting trail, though. A lot of these guys who we've had in for visits, we are ranked number 10, that's cool. But a lot of the guys who we've had for visits are committing to other programs. And as much as we're now at 2-star prestige and we've got these new NIL hours, we're still struggling in some of these races, although we're still in the mix for the 2 4-stars. Camelo, we're in first. Sparks, we are in second. But we lose out on some of these other guys. Merriman we had in for a visit. Broyles we had in for a visit. Yeah, it's verbal commitments, but I don't really like our chances. As for Sparks, he of course already visited. It sucks that we don't have the lead. And then with Camella, I'm a little nervous because he's about to visit Utah in 2 weeks. And Alabama now is in the mix for him. But right now we're sitting at 7-0. We're playing well, and we would get another verbal commitment from linebacker Jake Simonson. He's probably more of a safety. He's only 5'11", but he is really fast. He was a guy for a while I didn't think we would get, so I'm certainly surprised he's one of the players we did land over all of these guys who are committing to other places. We lost out on a bunch. Most of these guys I kind of gave up on. I didn't really think we were going to land. We're now in a recruiting battle with Utah for Camelo, so at least we don't have to worry about Alabama. But he visits Utah next week, which is a little scary. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to keep our lead, but I'm going to keep putting points into him. I want to be smart with how we use these points, though. I'm going to continue to go after the 4-stars, but there are a lot of guys who we're kind of out of the race for. I am going to continue to schedule some visits. I thought about Trent Booth for the South Florida game, but we don't really have any good deal breakers, so I feel like it's not even really worth it. We're struggling in his battle anyway. We're going to have guard Landry Hunt come, though, against South Florida. That game is in 2 weeks. Tiquan Oregon at wide receiver. We've got B deal breakers, which aren't great, but good enough. Willie Humphreys is an edge rusher. And then we're going to invite Spencer Dunham, one of the highest-ranked 3-star players in the entire class. So that brings us to our matchup here in Week 9 on the road at the Alamo Dome against UTSA. The Roadrunners are 4-4 so far this year. They're, I would say, again, middle class when it comes to the conference hierarchy. They have lost 3 in a row, though. They started the year off strong, but have since kind of dipped a little bit. Their best player is a junior wide receiver in Prince Hall. Their quarterback is one of their better players, Cesar Pineda. He is a 79 overall sophomore who's not very fast, but has a pretty good arm and can certainly spray the ball around the field. We're now number 8. We keep on climbing in these rankings. We moved up 2 spots after the Rice game and then 2 more after the bye week. We have a single-digit ranking, and if the season ended today, we would have a home playoff game. Let alone just any playoff game. It would be in front of our fans. How cool is that? We've still got 5 more regular season games to go. We've still got a lot of season left and some good teams, including Tulane and Notre Dame in the coming weeks. So we cannot let any of these games in front of us be trap games. Pineda's pass on 3rd down is off the mark, so the defense gets to stop, and the offense gets it back. Slow but steady down the field. Here's Carson Boyd on 1st down. Boyd, end zone. Wow, what a throw! Heavily covered is Tyrant Parker, but the throw is lasered perfectly to where the corner can't make a play on it. And Delaware leads at 7-0. So a good start for the Blue Hens. We move into the second quarter now. Pineda on 1st down has the Roadrunners moving down the field. George Zombo with a nice run. He gets it inside the 10. Another slow but efficient drive that has UTSA in the red zone as Prince Hall is in for a score on the screen. The Prince has walked through the halls into the castle, and we're knotted up at 7 apiece. Here's Boyd on 3rd down and 7. Backs up, looks to throw it, and overthrows his target. Off the mark, incomplete. That'll lead to a punt. He was trying to get it to Glasgow. And here comes UTSA. What a run! Chester Robbins with the spin, and he gets it to around the 50. UTSA could put themselves ahead before half, nearing the 2-minute timeout on 3rd and 8. Lobbing it down the field. It's picked off in the end zone. Jamarion Caligbodi with the interception off of Pineda, and Delaware will get it back with a 2-minute drill. Third down and 10 for the Blue Hens. Here's Boyd, looks to throw it. His pass is broken away. Tries to get it to Fulmar, but the offense has just been very mediocre in the first half. UTSA with a third down and 12. Here's Pineda. Scrambles. He misfires, incomplete. And Delaware gets it back with under a minute to go. Boyd on first down, scrambles. Nice catch. It's Tyron Parker with a juke move. Past the 35. We're in field goal range. We got good field position with a good punt return. We should at the very least score, but we're looking for more. Jaden Wright inside the 10. That'll make it a first down and goal. Time is not on our side, though. We don't have any timeouts, but it will not matter. Tyron Parker in for a touchdown, and Delaware will take the lead going into the half 14-7. Offense was certainly a little iffy, but we do take the lead. The defense, for the most part, has been pretty good, and we'll see if we can keep things rolling in the second half. I certainly don't love being up by 7 only against a much inferior opponent. Third down and 7. Here is Boyd. He scrambles to the left. Boyd under pressure, hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. The offensive struggle, as you can see, really carrying into the second half. Both teams had early 3-and-outs before that failed drive by Delaware. Third down and 1. Zombo does not get it. Nice tackle by A.J. Tuitele, and they're going to go for it on 4th and 1. Not even at the 50. Bold decision, and it backfires. Zombo goes the wrong way. Jamarian Calabodi brings him down. Final play of the third quarter. That's Corbin Glasgow inside the 5. And it gets Delaware in a nice spot to take a multi-score lead early in the fourth quarter. It's a third down and goal, 7:24 to go. We're going to run the ball with Coleman, and he gets maybe a yard. As much as I would like to go for it, the field goal makes it a 2-score game, so let's not do anything reckless. That was a lot closer than it needed to be, though. Brendan Flavors slips it in, and it's 17-7. UTSA has it back here on second down. Cesar Pineda rolls to the right side. Pineda down the field. It's caught. It's one's going to bring him to the 45-yard line. It's Chester Robbins again. Now a third down and 6. Pineda under pressure for the end zone. Incomplete. There were 2 receivers in the area. Neither of them were able to make the play, and they're going to kick. Just trying to make it a 1-score game. Honestly, I don't hate it, as Ben Oliveira makes the field goal. They're 86 overall, redshirt sophomore kicker. Regardless, they're going to need to get a stop anyway, whether they go for the touchdown or the field goal. They don't get a stop here. Coleman with the first down run, and we probably need one more to finish off the job. 2-minute timeout, 3rd and inches. Coleman calls game, and the win streak continues. Number 8, Delaware, is now 8-0. Certainly not our best game. The offense was not particularly impressive, only winning by 1 score against UTSA, but a win is a win. And we keep the undefeated season going, and we inch ourselves closer to a Conference USA title and potentially a college football playoff berth. Not the best game out of Carson Boyd, though. He didn't really make any game-breaking mistakes, though, but he also didn't really have that many big throws. The run game was good from Coleman in particular, and then through the air, Tyron Parker was impressive. 7 catches, 93 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, though, that's the reason why we won the game. We only allowed the 10 points. We didn't really get a ton of big plays. No sacks. The 1 interception by Calabodi. But that puts us now at 8-0. Couple of home games coming up against South Florida and Tulane. We're going to have a lot of recruits visiting over the next couple of weeks as we move into Week 10. More guys are locking us out, which isn't great. We're in a recruiting battle for Cordell Sparks with Michigan State. Remember, he visited Michigan State this past week, so I guess it's a good sign we're still in the mix. It doesn't really look like their lead has grown, but at the end of the day, they still have the lead as Calabodi wins the Defensive Player of the Week for the American Conference. As for the other battles we have, I'm going to take some of these points off of Simonson. I think we've got him in the bag. Cabello's race is getting closer, and he visits Utah this week. I'm a little worried. Honestly, I have more confidence in Sparks, which sounds crazy. We're going to have Colin Payne, wide receiver, visit in Week 11, and then offensive tackle Joey Abiamiri will join him. As for Trent Booth, I think it's a lost cause. He's going to Auburn. So we've got South Florida here in Week 10. Brian Hartline has the Bulls at 4-4, 3-1 in conference, and we're certainly very familiar with South Florida on this channel. In our Dynasty Series last year with Virginia Tech, they were the Group of 5 representative in the playoffs all 4 years, winning playoff games in 2 of the 4 seasons, including the last one where we matched up with them in the second round, and they had us shook. They really could have won that game. But these guys have been pretty good in conference, 3-1. One of the better programs overall in this league, led by a talented junior quarterback in Darnell Kelly, who's got 87 speed, a pure runner archetype, but he's got a pretty good arm at 6'2". First college football playoff bracket is here. Our ranking moved down from last week, from number 8 to number 9. It would send us to Norman to play against Oklahoma. And if we won that, we would play against the top overall seed, unbeaten Ohio State. So let's bring ourselves now to Week 10, the final 4 games of the regular season. We're getting closer to the home stretch, as it's the USF Bulls, who are 4-4. If they can win this game, though, put them at 4-1 in conference, then they would have a real shot to make the Conference USA Championship game. They're going to run it up the middle on third down. Nowhere to go. A good start by the defense. Trenton Gummer brings down Chase Garnett, the running back, and so we will get it back on offense. Here is Boyd, delayed handoff. No, it's a fake for Fulmar, and he is off to the races. Phillip Fulmar, touchdown Delaware. The two defenders in the area ran into each other. And after that, it's barbecue chicken for the senior receiver. Quick 7-0 lead for the Hens. Play action, here's Kelly. Scrambles under pressure, fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by the defense. A.J. Tuitele, who steps out of bounds at the 1. Great job, moron. Big play, though. That's Elijah Groves with the strip sack. A good recovery by Tuitele, and we do score shortly thereafter anyway. It's Oliver Lundberg-Coleman with the touchdown. So even though that was a really dumb maneuver by Tuitele, we still get the touchdown nonetheless. 14-0, very quick start. But here's a big play for South Florida. Look at all that room for Justin Hodge. 59 yards for the redshirt junior. And South Florida's offense is now in business. They're going to run it to the outside. Chase Garnett gets it inside the 5 before getting lit up. And then nearing the goal line, back in the end zone, what a catch! Over top of Polo Anderson, it's Taylor Watkins with the touchdown, and it's 14-7. Looks like South Florida might be making this a game after all. Fulmar with a really nice catch at the defender draped over him. Still comes down with it now in the second quarter. Carson Boyd scrambles to the right side. Boyd fires for Bowman. Jackson Bowman breaking tackles. He gets it inside the 10-yard line. A really good play there by Boyd. Now nearing the goal line, Coleman, juke move, touchdown Delaware. Oliver Lundberg-Coleman with his second score of the game. And the Blue Hens make it 21-7. Third down for South Florida. Here's Kelly, looks to pass it under pressure. Kelly, he gets sacked. Elijah Groves, his third of the first half. He has been dominant to start this game. And Delaware gets it back. We could put up, theoretically, 28 points in the first half, although Jaden Wright loses yardage on 3rd and 3. We're going to go for it, though. We're in 4-down territory. Empty backfield. Broken away! So the South Florida defense gets the stop. And they would march slowly but surely down the field with under 20 seconds now. We get the sack on the blitz. They did not see him coming at all, but they probably should have, because that's Elijah Groves, who has 4 in the first half. Unable to get it there on 3rd down. They'll call the timeout and bring the field goal unit out, looking to make it an 11-point game. It's a 28-yarder for Colin Kendricks, a redshirt freshman. This one is up, and it is good. 21-10 going into the break. The offense minus the final drive and the 4th down fail looks pretty good. Defense has been fine. I wouldn't say they've been great. They haven't been horrible by any stretch either. As we move into the second half, we do start with the ball. On 2nd down, here is Boyd. Looks to throw it. Boyd scrambles. He's hit, and he somehow gets it for Fulmar. How did he make that play work? Carson Boyd's getting a lot more impressive throws out of structure over these last couple of weeks as Fulmar breaks the tackle. His second touchdown of the game, and Delaware adds to the lead as it's 28-10. 3rd down and 10 for South Florida. Under pressure, Kelly is sacked by Cole Carmichael. That'll lead to a punt, and the Blue Hens will get it back. We would burn some clock, march down the field as Jaden Wright is in for a touchdown, and this game is turning into a blowout. Delaware looking for win number 9 on the year. We're certainly in position, leading 35-10. On 1st down, Kelly off his back foot, connects, and that one will go for a score. Chase Garnett, the redshirt senior running back, in the boxing ring, making it 35-17 as the onside kick is recovered by Delaware. That's Tyron Parker. We're going to try to choose some clock, maybe get some insurance points. Jaden Wright breaks the initial hit, only gets about a yard. We're in prime 4-down territory, though. We're going to go for it again on 4th down and 6. Try to put our foot down, get this game over with sooner than later. Boyd scrambles, hit as he throws incomplete. Another failed 4th down for Delaware. Now it's South Florida's turn. 3rd down and inches. Kelly under pressure. Got to get rid of it. Tipped. Incomplete. They'll go for it on 4th and inches directly at the 50-yard line as Kelly hands it off, and the fullback is going the wrong way. A.J. Tuitele brings him down. We're going to burn some clock and add a late touchdown with Philip Fulmar. That's his 3rd of the game. I wanted to make it a point to score on that last drive because we've got some recruits visiting, and I want to get the blowout bonus. Late in the game, we get an interception from Tuitele, who had quite the night with a fumble recovery that should have gone for a touchdown, a 4th down tackle, an interception amongst a few other plays. 42-17, Delaware, 9-0 on the year. But we've got our 2 biggest games coming up with Tulane and Notre Dame, both of whom are on the fringe of being ranked. So we're going to really challenge ourselves. And, I mean, if we win those 2 games, there's no reason why this team doesn't deserve to make the college football playoff. Really good showing by Boyd. This was his best game of the year. He was awesome. Not high volume in terms of throwing the ball, but out of structure, in structure, super accurate. And Philip Fulmar had definitely his best game. 5 catches, 114 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Defensively, Groves with 4 sacks. Tuitele with an interception and a fumble recovery. A lot of guys playing well on that side of the ball. So we are now 9-0 going into the final 3 games as we do land a hard commitment from Jake Simonson. So we've got our first 2 commitments signed, sealed, and delivered. But we're struggling in a lot of these other races as we're still ranked number 9. I'd like to think we would move up if we beat Tulane this week. But a bunch of other guys are either locking us out or committing. Payne and Abi Amiri we are in 3rd for. They're both visiting this week. As Kamela does commit to Utah and Sparks to Michigan State. Damn. That's unfortunate. We lost out on both the 4 stars. We didn't end up with any players of the week, though, which kind of surprised me. I instinctively went to the Conference USA, but it's Marcus Wimberly who had a pick 6. I feel like 4 sacks and a fumble force with Groves is a little more impressive. So we're going to have to take a lot of these guys off the board. It sucks that we're losing out on a ton of these races, but we're still struggling to recruit with the big dogs, even though our program has a ton of momentum. We still have some guys visiting this week, so I'm hoping we'll be able to land some of them that way. And I'm hoping that recruits across the country see us ranked in the top 10, now slated to play Boise State in the first round on the blue turf, with the winner going up against Ohio State. So one of our AD expectations is to beat Tulane by 7 points. I don't know if it's because Tulane is the best program in the conference or what, but they've had a great year. They're ranked number 16. Their only loss at Alabama. Fairs. They just beat Temple this past week. 2.5 stars, 78 overall. We, of course, have not played against the best of competition. This would be our big statement win. Memphis is the only team who we've played against who's ranked currently. But this week and next week against Tulane and Notre Dame, we've really got a chance to show the college football world who we are. TJ Lateef, the redshirt senior, is the quarterback, one of the best in the conference. And they've got probably the best roster in the American other than us. This has been their conference, and we have come in and have tried to hijack that. Well, now both teams are undefeated in conference play. There's a good shot this is not the only time these two teams play against each other, but it's a matchup that has large playoff implications. If Tulane beats us, then they certainly are going to be ranked ahead of us and would take our playoff spot for the time being. If we win, we get a massive statement resume win, and we clinch a spot in the conference title. I don't think it can be overstated that this is the biggest game in the history of the program, right? I mean, it's got to be. With us at 9-0, we can really put ourselves in a good spot with a win at 10-0. Jaden Wright up the middle does not get the first down conversion. Got to think about going for it, right? 4th down and 2 at midfield. If we're going to go for it against anybody else, I feel like we have to here in this game as it's caught by Bowman for the first down. Originally, I was going to punt it, but I realized we shouldn't treat this game any different. We don't need to make the moment bigger than it already is. 3rd and 7 into traffic. It's caught. Nice grab by Parker for the first down, and we are getting close to the end zone. Boyd on first down, scrambles up the middle. Touchdown! Carson Boyd with a rushing score. Delaware with a long, drawn-out opening drive that finishes with a touchdown. So here's Tulane. The two teams going into this game combined 17-1. As they're going to get a nice first down run. That's the starting running back, Keenan Dwyer. Now a short throw for George Olumba. He goes the wrong way on third down. Leon Irvin with the tackle, and now they're going to go for it. We got a big fourth down conversion on our drive. Now they're going to look to do the same. 4th down and 4. Latif looks to throw it. Under pressure. Hit as he throws. Tipped and incomplete. The defense gets the stop. We get it back on offense. Marching down the field. 2nd and 4. Boyd rolls to the left. Hit as he throws. And it's caught for the first down. A really nice play by Delaware. And we're marching. Here's Boyd on first down. Sets his feet. End zone. Touchdown. Philip Fulmar. He's on a hot streak. 3 touchdowns a week ago. Gets one here. And it's 14-0. Delaware up by 2 scores. 3rd down and 12 for Tulane. Latif. His pass is caught by Parker Fulgham, a player who we went after hard in the transfer portal back in year 1. 4th and 3. They're going to go for it. Latif looks to throw it on the run. It's caught. 1st down and more. Carlos Vallejo breaking tackles. And the redshirt freshman gets it inside the 10. 2nd and goal. Latif scrambles. Touchdown, Tulane. And it looks like the Green Wave are going to make it a game. Latif flexing in the end zone as it's 14-7. A 2-minute drill now for the Delaware offense as Boyd looks to throw it on first down. Boyd steps up. His pass into traffic is caught by Fulmar. We're looking to move quick. We've still got 2 timeouts in about 40 seconds. As on 3rd and 4. Boyd hit as he throws. It is dropped. Coleman had it in his hands but can't keep it. 49-yard field goal attempt for Brendan Flavors is up, and it is good. Brendan Flavors still has not missed this year, and that will make it a 10-point game going into the half. Overall, I feel pretty good. The offense looks awesome. They've scored every time they've gotten the ball. Defensively, started strong, finished a little slower. It's been a really slow-paced game, though. These drives have been very long. These offenses are taking their sweet time. 3rd and 10. Latif sacked on the play. Elijah Groves, who had 4 sacks a week ago, is the one who brings him down. A very good start to the 3rd quarter for the Delaware Blue Hens. Will get it back on offense. On first down, it's Boyd. Looks to throw it. Under pressure, Boyd scrambles. He's going to get the first down. Past the 40, sliding down. A good run by Carson Boyd. Now a 3rd down and 6. Boyd flushed out to the left, and he has nowhere to go. Sacked on the play by Randy Grosso, and we're going to have to settle for a field goal. 45-yarder for Flavors is up, and it is good. Brendan Flavors makes it 20-7. We'll see if the defense can keep on making plays for us with about 2 minutes left in the 3rd. Latif, pump fake, scrambles, looking down the field. It's caught! Wide open to about the 50-yard line. That's the tight end, Henry Gregory, the redshirt senior. Into the 4th quarter now. We're up by 13. There's no reason for us to blow this game as Latif gets out of traffic but does not get the first. He's wrapped up short behind the line, and they're going to have to go for it on 4th down. That was Groves with the tackle as Latif's pass is caught. It's Gregory with the first down, and now they're getting closer and closer and closer. It's a 3rd down and goal with about 5 minutes now, and they're going to hand it off. Close, but no cigar for the number 2 running back, Devontae Feidler. 4th and goal. They're going to have to go for it. Latif pitches it. Vallejo breaks the tackle and gets the touchdown. Carlos Vallejo with a really impressive play for Tulane. And it's 14-20. We're going to look to burn some clock, maybe make it a 2-score lead. Boyd on first down. Wants it all. Down the field. It is caught. Corbin Glasgow inside the 40. A huge first down for Delaware. With about 3 minutes to go, Coleman on 2nd down runs for the first, and we've got ourselves in a good spot. It's a sold-out crowd. Everybody on their feet. The fans have done a great job today. Boyd sacked on the play, and Tulane is going to be calling their timeouts. We're not comfortably in field goal range. I think it just makes sense to run the ball on 3rd down. Don't do anything stupid. Get a couple extra yards, center the kick, and put ourselves up by 2 scores. It's a 50-yarder for Brendan Flavors. He's made some long ones today. It's up, and it is good. 23-14, a 2-score lead for Delaware. Tulane gets it back, 2.5 to go, 3rd and 4. Latif scrambles. He's going to look to run. Latif with the first down past the 40. A good run for Tulane. They know they've got to move quick, though. Down by 9. Time is of the essence. 3rd down and 10. Latif backs up in the pocket. He's going to run with it again. Gets the 1st down and more. Latif slides down, giving them some good scrambles. Now it's 2nd and goal with under a minute 20. Short throw is caught with the screen. Blocks ahead. Touchdown for Pelham Liu, the 3rd-string running back, making it 23-21. They're out of timeout, so their only hope is the onside kick, which is swiftly recovered by Delaware. And the Blue Hens will hold on to win it. That's Noah Jefferson who recovers. 23-21. Delaware only wins by 2. It's a close win, but I don't think the score does this game justice. We were never in any danger in the 4th quarter. Yeah, Tulane brought it within 2. There was never really any concern from us. We were always in the driver's seat. We were always in control. This is a really, really good win. I would have preferred the offense to not slow down halfway through the 2nd quarter, but we were in control the entire way. I feel like we played better than the 2-point deficit would show. Solid showing from Carson Boyd. Coleman with a good game. Wright with some good runs. Fulmar with another touchdown. The defense was really good through 3 quarters. They kind of started to struggle in the 4th, but we had built enough of a lead to where it was not a problem. We're 10-0. Tied for the winningest regular season in program history. Tied with, well, last year when we went 10-2. We're going to schedule a bunch of visits now for our final home game against Temple. That being in a couple of weeks, but we start off on the road with the toughest game in Delaware football history. On the road in South Bend against number 22 Notre Dame, who has everything to play for. If they lose, they're out of the playoff mix. If they win, they've got a real shot because this would be a huge win for them. We currently sit at number 7 and would be slated to play against Stanford in the 1st round at home. Right now, we're 10-0 overall, 7-0 in conference. We've already clinched our spot in the conference title with the win against Tulane. This Notre Dame game is still important, though. As we take a look at the Heisman Watch, guess who's still in 1st place? Our good friend Steele Pizzella. He's been the favorite the entire year, and that seemingly has not changed. He has been absolutely incredible. And I'm excited to see our former quarterback firsthand. The one thing Pizzella's never been able to do in his college career is beat Carson Boyd. He's 0-3. So since we last talked about Notre Dame, they've gone 3-2. They lost this past week at Florida State, not to the fault of Pizzella. If they want to make the playoff, though, they've got to earn it with number 7 Delaware and number 10 Stanford. That starts, obviously, with Steele Pizzella. He still only has 79 throw power, but this is a tremendous team, an 89 overall. By far the best team we've played against in this series so far. They are loaded with talent, but guess what? So are we. We're, a 91, 92 overall. We're really good ourselves. And we're going to get one of our key offensive players, R.J. Mosley's back after missing the last 5 games. That's a big deal. Corbin Glasgow's done a good job, a very good job in his absence. But R.J. Mosley is, of course, the man. So here we go. 2 more regular season games. We don't technically have to win this one to make the playoff, but it would give us insurance. And it would give us a resume booster to potentially get us a home game or maybe even a 1st-round bye. Could you imagine skipping the 1st round entirely? But there is a scenario where we don't win the conference title and make the playoff, but in that scenario, we have to beat Notre Dame. And if nothing else, this is going to be a great experience for our program. Just a year ago, we were in the Conference USA, and now we're in a big game in South Bend, Indiana. As it's a quick gain of 31 for Matt Outen, the top receiver on this team. RPO, Elijah Burris with a couple of blocks. Inside the 10, past the 5, held out of the end zone by Hamiel and Polo Anderson, but they'll score anyway. The sophomore running back, Antoine Boyette, is in with the score. Notre Dame marches right down the field. They make it 7-0. 3rd and inches. Coleman does not get it. Stopped by the Irish. The game thought we should go for it. I disagree. I think it's too early. We're going to punt it. Here's Notre Dame. 3rd down. Short throw is caught with plenty of room after the fact, but not enough for sophomore running back Josh Furmorgan. Here returns the offense. Boyd looks to step up, scramble, but he gets sacked. Rodney Dunham brings him down, and that will lead to a punt. The former 5-star recruit in the backfield with the sack. Here's Antoine Boyette. Final play of the 1st quarter. Runs into his blocker. Still with a big run. Could have been a little more, but he gets it near the 35. A good start for Notre Dame. The moment looks a little big so far for the 10-0 Blue Hens as Boyette gets it inside the 5 now. And they're getting pretty close to the end zone, looking to make it 14-0. Pizzella looks to scramble, and he walks it into the end zone for a touchdown. Steele Pizzella did a lot of that during his time at Delaware. A dynamic rushing threat. 14-0 lead for the Fighting Irish. Boyd gets smothered in the pocket, and he has gotten hit a lot in this game. I don't really think it's entirely because of the offensive line. Look at the receivers. None of these guys are getting any separation. That time Parker drops it, but the receivers, I think, is the biggest reason why we don't have any points. More so than the offensive line play. 3rd and 5. That one is caught but out of bounds, so they will have to punt it. Good effort by the Notre Dame receiver. 3rd down and 4, minute 20 to go. Here is Boyd, looks to throw it, and that one is dropped in and out of the hands of Maddox Sills. Here returns Notre Dame with a minute left in the half. 3rd and 7. Pizzella scrambles, and he will get the first down, and he's still on his feet. He somehow escapes through the ruckus alive. 25 seconds now. 2nd and 8. Big sack on the blitz. That's what we've got to do. Be creative with our pressures. 3rd down now. Pizzella scrambles. He'll look to run, and he gets the first down. Wrapped up by Irvin. Notre Dame with a timeout. Now it's 2nd down and 10 with 10 seconds. Pizzella, he's going to look for the end zone. Batted away, incomplete by DJ Kelly. And they're just going to settle for the points. Probably what they should do. Make it a 3-score lead. It's Owen Carey from 34 yards out. The redshirt junior from Jacksonville, Florida. His kick to make it 17-0 is up, and it is good. We're playing against a really good defense. And so far, yeah, it's been tough sledding. 0 points and only 2 first downs for Delaware. And as I said earlier, I don't think the biggest problem is Boyd. I don't think it's the run game. I don't even think it's the offensive line. The receivers, which have been the strongest position group since year 1, have been horrible in this game. However, here's R.J. Mosley with a nice play. We got back-to-back first downs to start the second half, doubling our first down total for the game within the span of about 40 seconds. Boyd on 2nd down, on the run. Nice play on the comebacker to Parker. And this offense has some energy. They have some life for the first time all day. 5 minutes left in the 3rd. A big hit by Dunham. His 2nd sack of the game. And it's 3rd down and long. Boyd will look to throw it. He's going to try to run with it. And he's going to make up the yardage from the sack. But it's still a 4th down and 11. We're just going to take the point. Oh, he missed it! Brendan Flavors! Wide to the left. His first missed kick of the entire year. And it remains 17-0. We finally had a good drive. Still couldn't score. At least we get the stop, though. Boyette is going the wrong way, and he took the worst of that hit. We'll get it back on offense. Still with a goose egg on the scoreboard as Boyd's going to scramble. He's got a lot of room. Look at Boyd go all the way to about the 30, where he's dragged out of bounds. A huge run, though, for Carson Boyd, who's been really looking to scramble in the second half. It's a gain of 34. 3rd and 10. Boyd's pass, low and incomplete. Looking for Fulmar, and we're going to settle for the field goal again. 47-yarder for Flavors is up, and this time it is good. So Delaware is finally on the board. It took us nearly 3 quarters, but it's 17-3. Defense has been looking pretty good, though. We allowed 2 early touchdowns, only 3 points since, and we get another stop. It's Calabote who brings down the tight end. We can make it a 1-score game here. Boyd on 2nd down, scrambles, tucks it, runs. Carson Boyd with the first down. Since the receivers are not getting open, give Boyd credit. He's changed the game plan. He's looking to make these plays himself, and it's working. He's taking a lot of hits, though. But he is getting some really big runs for us. Now 2nd and inches, Boyd. He's going to look to throw it now, and it's intercepted in the end zone. Notre Dame forces the takeaway. Ron Connor picks it off. They have it at the 1, but they'll take the trade-off of not letting Delaware score. Short throw is caught. Quick first down for the Irish. It's hauled in by Matt Outen, who's able to get a big play for Notre Dame, who has not scored since late in the second quarter. Pizzella sacked on the blitz. He's wrapped up by Kevin Moore. Give the defense credit against the Heisman frontrunner. We're holding them in check. The problem is we're not scoring. Here's Jaden Wright. Past the 20 to about the 15-yard line. We've struggled in the red zone today. When we've gotten close to scoring, we have failed. 2nd and inches. Boyd scrambles. This is what he's done all day. On the run. Touchdown. Delaware finally finds the end zone. R.J. Mosley, first game back. First touchdown of the year. And we're going to go for 2. When you're down by 8, kids, go for the 2. Coleman does not get it, though. And so it remains 17-9. At least we got the touchdown, though. We made it a one-score game. But now we've got to get a stop. 2nd and 6. Pizzella, big first down. Wide open receiver. Kerry Blade. First catch of the game, but it's a big one. Final play before the 2-minute timeout. It's a short throw. Elijah Burris, spin move. First down, and we're out of timeouts. That's it. This game is over. Delaware loses for the first time this year. Steele Pizzella finally gets over his boogeyman and beats Carson Boyd. But of course, we are on the wrong side of it again. We're 0-4 when these two quarterbacks go head-to-head. 17-9. Our defense did what they could. Notre Dame did not score in the second half. I think they only had 3 points after their first 2 drives. Steele Pizzella, the Heisman frontrunner, was good. He was efficient, but he didn't really lead them to much after the first 10 minutes. The problem is our offense shot ourselves in the foot too many times. We missed the field goal in the third. That's 3 points off the board. We turned it over in the red zone in the fourth quarter. That's possibly 7 points off the board. If we connect on those 2 plays, we would have won the game. I mean, statistically, we were actually better than Notre Dame. I don't think we were better based on the eye test, but numbers-wise, we were ahead of them. Pizzella was better than Carson Boyd, though, but I give Boyd a lot of credit. I know the passing numbers don't look great, but I think it's the receivers who really let us down. Boyd was able to change the game plan. He scrambled a lot, and we were able to get some of our best plays when he ran it himself. The receivers got to be better. This is the strongest unit of our team. We're becoming wide receiver university. Today, they were not getting open, they were not getting separation, and they wasted a brilliant performance by the defense. Now, just because we lost doesn't mean we're out of the playoff. I think if we win the conference, we'll still be fine, but now there's no margin for error. We've got to win our last 2 games. We continue to lose battles on the recruiting trail, though, as we drop to number 13. Okay, that's reasonable. We're not in the playoff, but we're right on the outside of the top 12. We lose out, though, on a bunch of guys who visited the campus, and for all the other guys who are visiting, we're in either 2nd or 3rd, so I'm hoping the game against Temple goes really well. So right now, we're number 13. Boise State is the group of 5 rep, so currently we're out of the playoff. As it stands now, Memphis is right behind us at number 14, and there's a good chance we will play them in the conference title, as Tulane has actually dropped 2 games in a row. They're now number 25. So it could be UAB, it could be Tulane, but it will probably be Memphis, who we play against in the American Championship. Even if we lose to Temple, we're good. We're making it no matter what, because worst case, we're going to have 1 in-conference loss. However, we cannot afford to lose to Temple, because if we do, we're out of the playoff. They've played against some good teams. They kept Memphis close. They lost to Tulane as well, 67 overall. They've got a lot of good skill position players. Their top 6 players are either at wide receiver or running back. Brady Palmer, the redshirt junior, is their QB. He ended up winning their battle. He's had an all-right season. Temple's 3-8, though. It's their last game of the year. They haven't had a very good season. We should win this game. It's our senior day, our final regular season home game. Now, that doesn't mean it's our final home game overall, because we will get to play at home in the conference championship, and we may get a home playoff game if things go really well for us over the last couple of weeks. But we've got to take care of business. We've got recruits visiting today, and we're kind of struggling on the recruiting trail. So we've got to show out for them, and we've got to keep ourselves alive in the playoff picture. If we lose this game, we're not making the playoff. Even if we do win the American Athletic Championship, I don't really see a scenario for us to get in with 2 losses. I think we've got to get in with only 1. Iverson Howard fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by the defense. Leon Irvin with the force. Irvin is a fumble machine. He just has such natural instincts around the football. Polo Anderson, the Clemson transfer, recovers. Here's Boyd on first down, looking on the wheel route. It's Oliver Lundberg Coleman. Touchdown, Delaware. Quick start for the Blue Hens. The offense has got to be a lot more steady than we were last week against Notre Dame, only scoring the 9 points. Iverson Howard with a spin move, gets a block, and he is off to the races. 82-yard touchdown. And Temple quickly ties the game at 7. Those are the types of plays we allowed in seasons 1 and 2 when we couldn't tackle and had a bad run defense. Here returns the offense. Boyd's going to look to scramble. He's found a new set of weapons, his 2 legs. Gets a late block by Mosley and is down at the 20. There's about 2 to go in the first. Boyd rolls out to the right. On the run. Boyd He's got Fulmar. Touchdown, Delaware. Philip Fulmar with the score. And it's 14-7 against, I guess, our geographic rivals. I mean, Philly and Newark, Delaware are not too far away. Big sack on Palmer. It's Dalen Johnstone, the transfer edge rusher, bringing him down. We'll get it back on offense, 2nd and 10. Boyd rolls out to the left on the run. Fulmar with the catch. Keeps his feet inbounds. Jukes 2 defenders. And Fulmar is in for the touchdown. What a play by Philip Fulmar. And it's 21-7. Philip Fulmar's really heated up over these last few weeks. I think it was the South Florida game where he had 3 touchdowns where he really broke out. And he has been extremely impressive since. Iverson Howard's been great as well. He runs for the first down. He's got 7 carries for 128 yards already. At the 2-minute timeout, Palmer with a jet sweep. That's their highest rated player. It's Zay Robinson who launches a defender to the ground and is out near the 15-yard line. On 1st and goal, Brady Palmer on the run. He is in for a touchdown. Don't look now, folks, but Temple's got it within 1 score. Our defense did not allow any points in the second half last week against Notre Dame, but Temple's given us some trouble as that one is broken away on 3rd and 10. And that'll wrap up a high-scoring first half, 21-14. We've got the lead. Our offense looks great. Defense, not quite as much. As we move into the second half, got to play better on that side of the ball. Luckily, we do start on offense with a chance to add to the lead. Boyd's going to scramble on 3rd down, up the middle, doesn't get the first. And we have an interesting decision, 4th and inches. We can make it a 2-score lead, but dadgummit, we're that close. We're going to go for it. It's Coleman up the middle, 1st down inside the 10, the 5. Coleman not quite in the end zone, but the native of Sweden gets it to about the 2. 1st and goal. Boyd scrambles. Boyd under pressure. Carson Boyd, end zone, touchdown Mosley. What a play by Carson Boyd. He probably should have just run it in if I'm being completely honest, but hey, that works too. 28-14, 3 to go in the 3rd. 3rd and inches. No, it's dropped. Come on, DJ, you got to catch the ball, brother. We'll get it back on offense. Here's Boyd. Up the middle. Juke move. Carson Boyd fumbles the ball. And it's picked up by Temple. The Owls force the turnover. They are far from out of this game. Forced and recovered by Bradley Lilly. Palmer gets sacked. He fumbles it. Picked up by Temple. And they're going to turn it into a positive gain of about 3. That was Cole Carmichael with the strip sack. 3rd and 2. It's a screen. Look at those blocks. Touchdown, Temple. It's a 1-score game. Amir Morrow, 21-yarder. And it's 28-21. 2nd and 10. Here is Boyd. Scrambles to the right side. Boyd looking down the field. It is intercepted. Back-to-back possessions with turnovers. And Temple can theoretically tie the game, as it's intercepted by Deron Harris, the redshirt junior. Carson Boyd has had, I thought, his best game of the year, but now he's turned it over on back-to-back drives. 3rd and 6, Palmer's pass is caught. Really nice catch for the 1st down. I thought Garrett Berger, the sophomore receiver, was going to drop it, but he holds on. Another 3rd down now. Palmer hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. Temple decides to punt it. We get it back with about 4 minutes left. 3rd and 12. Boyd scrambles. Under pressure, looking deep again, and it is caught! Tyrod Parker inside the 40. What a throw by Carson Boyd. Probably his best of the year. Here's Coleman gets the 1st down on 2nd and 9, and our offense is in business, although Fulmar's a little dinged up. Played his high school ball in Philly, so he's got to be a little familiar with the Temple program, as that one is caught. Mosley with the 1st down. Temple gets lucky with the injury timeout. 2nd down now. Coleman, juke move, touchdown. Oliver Lundberg Coleman with the score, and it's a 2-possession lead. However, Brendan Flavors misses the extra point. Somebody's getting a souvenir in the stands. 34-21. Temple now with about 40 seconds left. They are out of timeouts. Brady Palmer on 3rd and 2 surveys the field looking for the end zone, and it's off the crossbar, incomplete. They're going to go for it. 4th down and 2. It's a run. Iverson Howard with the 1st down. Howard will get to fight his way forward. He's wrapped up by Cameron Hamill, who's been all over the field again. Another 4th down now. 4th and goal. Palmer, end zone. Touchdown. Long drive finishes off with a score. It's Zay Robinson with the touchdown. Now it's time for the onside kick, which is picked up by Delaware. And thankfully, we will hold on to win. Although Temple gave us quite the battle. We only won by 6. 34-28. The regular season comes to an end. Delaware finishes with a record of 11-1. And we finished the regular season with a perfect 8-0 record in the American Athletic Conference. Defense had one of their worst games of the year, though. It has me a little concerned going into the conference title, but the offense was great. Boyd did have 2 turnovers in the second half, but I thought otherwise it was his best game of the year. He's playing his best football for us down the stretch, which is a big deal. Fulbar with 2 more scores. The run game was good. Coleman with a big afternoon. Got to be a little bit better, though, defensively, although Hamill had 16 tackles. He also had a really bad dropped interception, though. So we'll simulate the week going into Conference Championship weekend. I'm expecting to see Memphis, although it's not a given. Memphis this week plays against East Carolina, so if they win that game, they're in. If not, it could be UAB, who has a bye. Could be Tulane. They're playing Army. But there you go. It is Memphis. They're number 12. We're number 10. So the stakes are simple. The winner's going to the playoff, and the loser isn't. I mean, how exciting is that? Everything is up for grabs in this game. Right now, we've got the 10 seed, and Memphis is the first team out because Arizona is ahead of them as a conference champion. We would play against Clemson currently if the season ended today. But if Memphis beats us, they're taking our spot. We're not making the playoff if we lose this game, and Memphis is. So everything is on the line in this matchup against the Tigers team who we already played against this year in their building, and we beat them. But in hindsight, we probably shouldn't have. We are very lucky to have come out of that game with a win. If not for that crazy third down fumble with 30 seconds left, they would have won. They would have kicked the game-winning field goal. But we brought it to overtime and won it 38-31. Since that game, Memphis has not lost. They have been perfect. They were 3-2 after dropping that one. Their only losses against us and Oklahoma. They beat UAB, who's one of the better teams in the conference. They beat Tulsa, only beat Temple by 6. But to be fair, we only beat Temple by 6, so I guess we can't really make fun of them. They beat Florida Atlantic, Charlotte, Navy, and East Carolina. So not really the best group of teams other than UAB, but they won all of those games. As we know, the strength of their roster is the offense. Rogers and Shakir, each with over 1,000 yards. Justin Crandall, over 3,600 yards passing. These guys are a tremendous offense, and we know this firsthand. Our defense allowed 24 points the first 4 games of the year total. Yet these guys scored 31 on us and should have really had more. With how our offense and how our quarterback is playing, I think this is going to be a really high-scoring game. Our offense is clicking right now, minus the Notre Dame matchup. We seem to be in a good rhythm on that side of the ball. The defense, I think, is not as good as they were earlier in the year. And this Memphis offense, I think, is easily top 2 in this conference with us. There are some good offenses in the American, but I think us and Memphis, maybe UAB, are kind of the top of that class. Our game against Memphis earlier this year was by far our most exciting matchup of the season. And if this game ends up being half of what that one was, especially with the stakes of the winner going to the playoff and the loser being eliminated, we could be in for a fun one. Crandall on the run. His pass is caught. That was a really nice throw under a ton of pressure, sending that one on a dime. This really is a de facto playoff game for both of these teams. As Crandall gets sacked, Elijah Groves brings him down. Groves could be sniffing double digits, and he was not a starter at the beginning of the year. Play action. Crandall up the middle. It's caught, and that goes for a first down, even with the sack. A huge play by Ronnie Kerperkius. Now 3rd and 14. Rogers is not going to get much. I guess they wanted to position themselves for the field goal, but in that case, why would you run to the outside? It's a 29-yarder for Adrian Karmazi. The kick is good, and Memphis is on the board first. They lead it 3-0. Offense coming off a big showing last week. Boyd throwing for 4 touchdowns, although his pass is low for Philip Fulmar, and that will result in a punt. Our first drive ends up being a quiet one, and Memphis gets it back. 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter. 3rd and 3. Crandall keeps it on the option, breaks the initial tackle, but does not get the first down. An interesting decision upcoming here on 4th and inches. They are going to go for it. Crandall keeps it himself, fumbles the ball. Picked up by Memphis, but they're not going to get the first down. A huge stop by the defense as it's Tavian Branch, the senior defensive tackle, who brings him down. 3rd down and 3. Boyd dances around the pocket, and he is wrapped up from behind. He thought he had a gain of 25 waiting for him up the middle, but Memphis gets the stop, and they lead at 3-0 into the second quarter. Crandall on first down. Up the middle. That one is caught. That goes for a first down. Nice catch by Ronnie Kirkpikis, who had a big catch earlier. Now it's a 3rd down and 4. This one is hauled in again. Another first down. That's Quincy Agudosi who makes the play. 2nd and 7 now. Back to Agudosi. Gets a couple of blocks inside the 10, and he has had a huge game. 5 catches, 71 yards already. 1st and goal. Short throw. Alex Balducci. Touchdown, Memphis. As he's able to lunge his way forward through DeMarco Daniels. And it's 10-0. On 3rd down, short run. Coleman doesn't get it. We've got to punt it again. This game is not going well at all. Our offense is struggling. Our defense isn't doing much better either. Memphis is in clear control right now. Another big play for the Tigers. It's hauled in by Jonathan Harding, the senior tight end. 3rd and 2. Big tackle. We needed that stop badly. That's Colin Gallagher who brings down Mustafa Okuyinonu. As we get it back on offense, 3rd and 12. R.J. Mosley with the first down. There's got to be a sense of urgency on the offensive side of the ball. This does not look like the same unit who put up 34 against Temple. Nice catch. Fulmar with the first down. Now a 3rd and 10 with a minute and a half. Bad snap. Boyd recovers quickly. Another conversion to Fulmar, and we're moving it nicely, nearing the red zone. 3rd and goal. Short throw. Misfiring. Incomplete. And we're going to go for it on 4th and goal at about the 2-yard line. Boyd hands it off right. Doesn't get it. And Delaware is shut out. Going into halftime of the American Athletic Championship game, it's 10-0. I'm getting bad deja vu to last year. When we played against New Mexico State and lost to them the first time, we scored 38. It wasn't because of the offense. But in the conference title game, we only scored 7. Here we are again. We put up 38 the first time against Memphis. We've got 0 so far. You know who won that conference championship game, though? This guy, Carson Boyd. He knows a thing or two about it, and he's looking to lead us down the field. It's Coleman on 3rd down. He gets it to about the 1. We'll see if we can punch it in and finally score at the very least, as it's Jaden Wright in for the touchdown. And at the very least, Delaware finds the end zone, and the lead is within 3. 10-7. Got to get some stops here on defense. We've been serviceable on this end of the field, but they're going to get a nice run. Mustafa Okuyinonu with a gain of 19 yards. Now on 1st down, play action. Crandall looks to throw it. Looking down the field, Johnny Shakir's got it! And Shakir makes his first catch of the game, a big one. Memphis with a 52-yard touchdown, and it's 17-7. 3rd and 13, Boyd's going to scramble. Boyd, juke move, first down. Huge run for Carson Boyd, but we're still down by 10 going into the 4th, and we know all that is at stake. If we win, we're going to the playoff, and we win the conference title. If we lose, nope, no playoff. Expectations failed. Boyd on the run. His pass is caught. It's Fulmar. Tiptoes. Touchdown! Philip Fulmar brings the lead within 3 as it's 17-14. It's easy to forget given how far we've made it in the season today, but we were the only group of 5 team ranked at the start of the year. We were expected to make the playoff as Cole Carmichael gets a big 3rd down sack. So if we lose this game, yeah, we went 11-1, but we did not meet expectations of the season. 2nd and inches, Boyd on the run. He's got Fulmar inside the 10. Juke move past the 5. And our offense now looks alive and well. Here in the 4th, Boyd hit as he throws. Touchdown! Delaware takes the lead. R.J. Mosley, who had not scored before he got hurt, now has 3 weeks in a row with a touchdown. As Crandall gets intercepted, Trenton Gummer picks it off. And everything is going well here in the 4th quarter for Delaware. A complete flip of the switch. We were outplayed through 3 quarters. Now we're up by 4 with the ball. Boyd takes his shot, but it's caught. What a throw for Mosley, who's had his best game of the year. 9 for a $103 and a score. 2.5 to go. That one is caught, but it will not get us the first down. Do we trust the defense to get the stop, or are we going to go for it? Game thinks we should keep the offense on the field. I disagree. If it was 4th and 1, maybe, but we're not a great 4th and short team. Let's take the points. Let's put ourselves up by 7 at the very least. Even if Memphis does score a touchdown, at least our offense is going to have some kind of chance, whether it's in overtime or at the end of the 4th quarter. But ideally, it doesn't come to that. Let's get a stop on defense and clinch a spot in the playoff. That one is caught, though, on second down. Big throw by Crandall. They've got under a minute to go, and they have one timeout. 3rd down and 1. Crandall looks to throw with a playoff spot on the line. It is incomplete. Broken away by Irvin. For the ball game, they will get the first down and more inside the 10. It's Mustafa Okuwa-Yinonu. And now they will look to punch it in. They can try to burn some clock, theoretically. They're in no hurry. 2nd and goal. Crandall, he's got Shakir. Breaks the tackle and scores the game-tying touchdown. Johnny Shakir, 2 catches today, 2 touchdowns. Delaware with 19 seconds and 3 timeouts. Both teams will run the clock out, but we're going to try to score. Here is Fulmar. He's out of bounds near the 50. We're really not that far out from field goal range, and we've got our timeouts. On 1st down, Boyd steps up. Boyd has room. He'll take advantage. Boyd, he's going to get as many yards as he can inside the 30. Delaware uses their first timeout with 5 seconds. We could bring the field goal unit out now. It would be a 46-yarder, but I want to center the kick. Porter, go down! Okay, that was close. That play took longer than I had hoped, but we called the timeout with 1. We'll bring the field goal unit on. 38 yards, Brendan Flavors to send Delaware to the college football playoff! Down by 10, going into the 4th quarter. Our offense really struggled early in this game, but we put up 20 in the final frame. Delaware has won the American Athletic and presumably is headed to the college football playoff. 27-24, Brendan Flavors calls game. Delaware goes into the American in their first season, going a perfect 8-0 in the American regular season and winning 2 thrillers, including the conference title against Memphis. What a game this ended up being. Memphis is an extremely deserving Group of 5 playoff rep. If not us, they certainly would have made a valiant effort against whichever team they matched up with in the first round. These guys are legit. Carson Boyd was outstanding. 21 of 28 for 263 yards and 2 touchdowns. He avoided mistakes. He had some big-time runs. He was phenomenal. Through the air, over 100 yards and a score for both Mosley and Fulmar. They were excellent. Defense, they were fine. When the chips were on the table, the money on the line, they came up short, allowing the game-tying touchdown, but luckily our offense had their back. We win the American Athletic Conference title, and bearing some BS from the committee, we're going to the playoff, which, to be fair, we got screwed into a conference title appearance in year 1, and we got screwed out of one in year 2, so I guess you never know. Let's simulate the week now. We are not going to find out who makes the playoff yet. I don't know why. What are we waiting for? We would lose out on a few more recruits, so we're going to go into the offseason much like our other seasons with only a couple players committed. Now, originally, it was my plan the first few years to only go after portal players, but now that we're a higher prestige, I wanted more freshmen. So the plan didn't really work, but luckily, I think we can still fall back on some portal options. As Mosley wins the Conference Offensive Player of the Week, we're still ranked number 10, which leads me to believe that we will be the 10 seed in the college football playoff. Let's simulate now to the bowl week, and oh god. Well, at least we're going to get the wide receiver Colin Payne. So that's good. The bad news is we're not really going to get many of these other guys. Yikes. That brings us to the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Obviously, we don't have anyone here, but there's still a level of an investment for our program because we happen to know one of the Heisman finalists. So Notre Dame did win their last game against Stanford. They're 10-2, ranked number 11, led by this guy, Steele Pizzella. He's been the favorite all year. We'll see if he ends up winning the Heisman for good. A lot of people thought he was not very good for us last season, which I disagree. There's a reason why we wanted him to come back. We offered him a lot of dynasty points, but, I mean, he was able to get a raise at Notre Dame, and guess what? He gets a Heisman Trophy to go along with it. Congratulations to the former Delaware quarterback, Steele Pizzella, the Heisman Trophy winner in year number 4. He beats out some big names, including quarterback Keyshawn Henderson, who now plays for Miami. Kids, if you want to win the Heisman Trophy one day, be like Steele Pizzella. Go to Delaware. I know he didn't win it as a Delaware Blue Hen, but we were obviously a big step in his development. He played with us for 2 years. His rating went up by like 10 while he was here. So even though the Heisman Trophy award is not going to have our school listed on it, We were such a big piece of his journey, and he's been a big piece of our journey in this series. We couldn't have gotten this far without him, and he couldn't have gotten this far without us. As for our playoff game, we are going to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to face off against the number 7 ranked Crimson Tide. Coach Kieran Riddle's first career playoff game as head coach is against the team who he won a Heisman Trophy for and led to a national championship appearance as a senior. He returns to Tuscaloosa as a coach on enemy lines after having a historic season as a quarterback back in college football 26 in our Virginia Tech Dynasty. There's your bracket. Notre Dame, the 11th seed. They're headed to the Big House. Of course, Memphis ends up missing out. They would have probably gotten our spot, and they'd probably be in Tuscaloosa instead had they beaten us in the big game. So Alabama's interesting. They're 9-3, but they're the 7th seed. Their point differential is only around 100, about half of ours, but they also had a harder schedule, obviously. Their 3 losses coming to Notre Dame, number 1 Georgia, and LSU. Do they have a signature win here? Maybe Tulane, but if that's their signature win, then Tulane is certainly ours as well. They also beat Oklahoma, who's a good program, but only ranked number 25. Alabama has a very, very good roster, though. Felix Ojo is one of the top offensive linemen in the country. They've got a great receiver duo with Maurice Williams and Vi Hui. Tyler Boulware is a talented sophomore running back, and their quarterback is a true sophomore in Leo Leggett, who is a very, very good passer of the football. Last year, he was the backup for Keelan Russell, who led Alabama to a national championship win. So these guys have championship pedigree. They won the whole thing just last year. So the expectation for Alabama is really, really high. They get to play at home in front of the Bryant-Denny at Saban Field faithful for one more time, led by head coach Steve Sarkisian, who was out at Texas and now is running the show at Alabama, where he was once an assistant under Nick Saban. So here we go, folks. Delaware has made it to the college football playoff, the number 10 seed, 12-1, champions of the American Athletic Conference, facing off against Kieran Riddle's former program, the University of Alabama. For a spot in the second round, the winner of this game will head to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl against the number 2 seed, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Let's get this show on the road. Delaware's first playoff game here in year number 4 against Alabama. This feels a little bit different than the Conference USA games we were playing just last year. Third down, here is Leggett. Wide open, it's caught. Past the 50, it's Vi Hui with the reception. Jamarian Caligbodi got cooked. Short throw now. That's Curtis Spears to around the 20-yard line where he's wrapped up by Cameron Hamill. Alabama's offense is marching right down the field here on this opening drive. Play action. Leggett looks to throw it. Scrambles, and he is sacked. Cole Carmichael brings him down. Carmichael, I would assume, was actually in the playoff in year 1 with Miami. I would guess they made it. Here's Boulware. Bounces off a blocker. He is in. Tyler Boulware with a rushing touchdown, and the Crimson Tide march right down the field and make it 7-0. Here's Delaware on second down. Wide open on the real route. Oliver Lundberg Coleman with a huge reception for the Blue Hens. It's a gain of 38. Final play of the quarter on second down. Boyd, Fulmar, touchdown Delaware! Our offense on our opening drive goes down the field and scores the touchdown. In the second quarter now, Vi Hui wide open. Calabodi gets cooked again. Gets tripped up, but still makes a touchdown-saving tackle. That's twice now. This guy is our senior captain. He's been here since day 1. He is not the guy who should be allowing these big plays, and it leads to a touchdown. Jason Priester, the tight end, makes it 14-7. Our defense is off to not a very good start, and the offense is going to have to match these punches being thrown. Play action. Boyd gets hit hard. Sacked in the backfield. Alabama's defense with a big play. That'll make it a 3rd and 20. Justin Hill with the sack. This one is caught up the middle. Mosley, first down. Huge play for R.J. Mosley. Moving the chains for Delaware. It's a gain of 25. Jaden Wright bounces off blockers. Wright lowers the shoulder to about the 1. We have not really seen Oliver Lundberg Coleman since his big reception, so Wright and Jared Porter are going to get the snaps at running back. Porter scores a touchdown, and we are knotted up at 14. Coleman is out because I think he's just taken so much wear and tear during the season that his body can only withstand so much. Here's Alabama. Leggett goes short. It's Vaihui who's had a huge first half for Alabama. 3 catches for 106 yards for the true junior, a likely high draft pick this year. That one is caught. It's Priester, the tight end, with the touchdown on the last drive. Gets it to about the 20. Now a 3rd down and 10. Leggett has not thrown an incompletion yet. Until now, it's picked off! Cameron Hamill, his 5th interception of the year. That'll hold Alabama off the board and keeps the game tied at 14 with 12 seconds. Now, we've got our timeouts. I kind of want to try to score. Okay, I'm changing my mind. That made my heart drop. Jesus Christ. We're just going to run the ball. We're tied. We're not losing. The interception was huge. I don't want to give them back momentum before halftime, especially because we do start with the ball in the second half, so we can maybe gain a little control with a nice drive. We've got a really good game in Tuscaloosa. Delaware is giving Alabama everything they can bargain for. We're knotted up at 14 going into the break of the first round of the 2030 college football playoff at this point. Into the second half, 3rd down and 7. Looking to throw it is Boyd. Short throw. Wright does not get the first. A big stop to start the second half for Alabama. 3rd down and 5 now. Leggett has the tie near the 50. He had a really good first half, minus the interception, as Boulware goes the wrong way. He's wrapped up by DeMarco Daniels, another one of our day one guys. When he committed here, I don't think he expected to play in the playoff. But here we are. Now, unfortunately, Alabama punted it to the 1, but luckily Jaden Wright gets us out of safety territory with a first down conversion on 3rd and 7. 3rd and 10, though, I don't know why we made that play. It was supposed to be kind of a wheel route for Maddox Sills. He was going to go up the field. I feel like Boyd should have led him into the throw. 3rd down and 12. Wide open is Boulware. Polo Anderson completely whiffs on the tackle angle. He's wrapped up at the 25 by Hamill as A.J. Tuitele, the senior linebacker, and another one of our defensive captains, is hurt on the play. 2nd and 1. Boulware breaks the tackle from Daniels, and he's wrapped up by Calabodi inside the 10. Alabama in striking distance to take the lead. Boulware, touchdown Alabama! Tyler Boulware, his 2nd touchdown of the night. And the Crimson Tide lead at 21-14. Delaware has it back. 3rd down and 3 with 6 to go. Boyd's pass is caught. Huge catch by Philip Fulmar for the first down. 2nd and inches play action for Porter. Here's Boyd. Scrambles up the middle. Juke move. First down. He's really figured out how to run in the second half of the year. Not that he couldn't before, but he knows how to use his legs to his advantage. I feel like he's been so much better in the second half than the first half, although Alabama with a huge sack. A big play defensively as it's Justin Hill who brings him down again. On 2nd down, here is Boyd. Looks to run, and he's out of bounds. That gives us a 3rd down and manageable. Very manageable. 3rd down and about 3. Boyd under a little pressure. It's caught! That was a risky throw. 3 defenders circling the waters, but Mosley's got the first down. 3 minutes to go, 2nd and 10. Boyd up the middle. Another risky throw caught by Tyron Parker, and we're looking at a 3rd and 3. We're not thinking about a field goal. It's touchdown or bust. Porter, first down. He hasn't really played a lot this year, but with Coleman dinged up, we're calling his number in the playoff, and he's been pretty good. 1st and goal. Touchdown! Delaware. Tie game. Tyron Parker with the score. We're knotted up at 21. It's a 2-minute drill for Leo Leggett and the Crimson Tide. 2nd down, Leggett. He gets about, I would say, 6, 7-ish. 3rd down and 3. Biggest play of the game. Leggett under pressure. It's caught. First down, Alabama. Maurice Williams past the 50 to the 45. They're getting close to field goal range. We've got to keep an eye on the field position and the clock. Leggett with 90 seconds left. Up the middle. That one is caught. To about the 25-yard line. A huge first down for Alabama. And they can now try to milk some of this time away. We've got to start using our timeouts now, as Boulware gets about 3 or 4, and we're going to use timeout number 1. We cannot let them get a first down. If we do, we're probably not going to get the ball back. Read option. Leggett doesn't get much. DeMarco Daniels and Leon Irvin bring him down, and that brings us to the biggest defensive play in the history of the program. 3rd down and 6. 57 seconds, only 1 timeout. RPO. Leggett, nowhere to go. Smothered for a loss in the backfield. Delaware gets the stop, and now it's field goal time. Alex Moore III from 42 yards out for the lead. It is up. Doink. Good. I thought that was not going to go in, but he just barely ekes it through. 24-21. We don't have any timeouts, but all we need is a field goal to tie. Boyd on first down, goes short. That's not going to give us much. The idea is that Fulmar was going to run around the defender and go out of bounds, but the throw was bad. So he's tackled in the field of play, and the clock is moving. It's only a gain of 3. Second down and 7. At least we got to get out of bounds here. Boyd scrambles. He's got Jalen Wright. First down. Wright tackled inbounds. A good gain, and the clock stops for now, but it'll start rolling again in just a couple of moments. 26 seconds for the Blue Hens. Boyd hurries back to the line with a man in motion. He looks to throw it. Ho, 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 ho. That was bad news. That could have ended the game. Second and 10. Boyd quickly scrambles, quickly looks to run, out of bounds, gain of about 8 or 9. Seemed like a late hit. I feel like we could have gotten an extra 15. Third and 1. Boyd scrambles again. Short throw. Right. Was he inbounds? I went no huddle just to be safe, but he was out of bounds. So the clock is stopped, and we can take a breath a little bit before we snap it. All right, here we go. 9 seconds. Boyd on the run. Mosley makes the catch. Is he tackled inbounds? We're going to go no huddle just to be safe. 4 seconds left. The clock is turned back on. Hurry up! Snap it! They don't get it off in time! And Alabama hangs on to beat Delaware 24-21. And the season comes to a heartbreaking close. In our first ever playoff game, we gave these guys all we could bargain for. If Mosley was an extra centimeter out of bounds, we could have had enough time to either take a shot for the end zone or go for a really long field goal from, 58 yards or whatever to tie the game. But unfortunately, he was tackled inbounds. It was a great defensive play, and we couldn't get the snap off within those couple of seconds. And Alabama will play Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Our season ends at 12-2. We'll start with this game. Alabama's a really good team on the road. They're a playoff team for a reason. Leo Leggett was very impressive. I thought Carson Boyd had a pretty good game, too. He did what he could for us. He is not the reason why we lost. It would have been nice to have Coleman out there. He had the one big catch, but he didn't get any rushing attempts because he just took too many hits during the year, and his body just wore out here by the end. He has been a trooper for us over the last 2 years, but he could only take so much. Defensively, it was up and down, good and bad. Biggest drive of the game, though, we did get a stop late, but it was too little too late. They got a couple first downs to put them in field goal range. It was still a really successful year for us, though. We went 12-2. We won the conference. We didn't lose a single game in the American. And it does pose an interesting question of, have we already outgrown the American? Is it time for us to take on another challenge after just 1 year? It is going to be with a new quarterback. I thought Carson Boyd had a really good season. I think the Steele Pizzella, Carson Boyd swap kind of worked out for everyone. Boyd's gone, though. Only a 1 year thing. Vi Zambrano, you'd think would be the starter. Maybe it ends up being Eric Dickens, or maybe we go back to the portal. We're going to need an entirely new backfield. We have 0 returning running backs next year who got a singular touch. Through the air, Fulmar and Parker both had big seasons, but they're both gone. Mosley and Glasgow could enter the portal. They could go to the NFL, so it'll be interesting to see if we can retain them. Defensively, Cameron Hamill with a huge season. Our linebackers, Daniels, Tuitele were great. Groves, who wasn't even a starter to begin the year, at 9.5 sacks. A lot of positives to take away from this year, but we're going to have a very, very, very new-look team, and we're probably going to be a little bit worse on paper than we were this year. What happens, though, in the rest of the playoff? Who ends up winning the whole thing? Could it be Alabama going back-to-back? Could it be Notre Dame with Steele Pizzella? A lot of big programs want us as their coach, but riding it out with the Blue Hens. USC shuts out Ohio State 30-0 in the national championship game. Alabama lost to Ohio State in the second round. Notre Dame with Steele Pizzella made it to the Final Four. They beat Michigan in the Big House, and they beat Clemson again for a second time before losing to Ohio State for a spot in the title game. We have a lot of new dynasty points. Over 4,000. Last year we had like half of that. I guess that's what happens when you're now a 3-star prestige and you make the college football playoff. We're certainly going to upgrade our facilities. I think the question is how many upgrades we're going to make. And then from there, what do we do with the roster and recruiting? Because we've got a lot of points to spend. And if we do move to a power conference, we might end up with even more points. Now, we're only offering 4 scholarships right now. And these 4 players, they all have something in common. But I can't quite put my finger on it. I think Kieran Riddle has a type. Right now, we're projected to give about 1,400 dynasty points to our roster. And of course, we've got a lot of seniors, including quarterback Carson Boyd, our top 3 running backs, our top 2 receivers, our starting tight end, multiple offensive linemen, many of our defensive linemen, most of our linebackers, our starting 4 cornerbacks, and our top safety. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. This is not like last year where we can run it back with 70% of the same team. Half of our roster are seniors. Now, we are going to have some good players coming back, and we're going to have to decide how to divvy up these points. It's not like the first couple years where we really had to sacrifice. We have over 2,200 to spend. So if there are some guys we really want to keep, we can make it happen. What about Vi Zambrano at quarterback? Do we think he's good enough to be the starter? Do we want to make it a point to keep these 2 receivers, Corbin Glasgow and R.J. Mosley? Terrell Cheeseman looks ready to play. Cheeseman, believe it or not, doesn't want any dynasty points. All he cares about is playing time. He just wants to play ball, and guess what? I think there's a good chance he probably will be our wide receiver 3, especially with a big offseason. Let me know how you think we should use our dynasty points going into this upcoming offseason as we set ourselves up for year number 5, and should we move conferences? Yeah, we've only been in the American for 1 year, but for where our team's at, is the Big Ten or the ACC our next challenge? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new for more Delaware Blue Hens Dynasty here on College Football 27. Peace out.